All right, hey everybody, this is Darkseid Elite with Hawk here. We are going to be doing another podcast here and talking about everyday things, what's been going on in possibly our lives, and also what's going on in DCEU, Marvel, and even in the scope of movies in general. Now, Hawk is my brother without a same mother. He's down in where he's at right now, and we're going to try to get into a few things. Um, Now, when we were doing our testing, we were talking a little bit about the that new dark crystal, the Age of Resistance, and why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what you thought of it?
Well, like I was saying during the test, that you already know the ending if you saw it growing up in the 80s, and just mentioning that, uh, again, like I said, Titanic, if you're going to that movie thinking there's going to be a happy ending, well, surprise. If you pay attention to history class, you already know what happened with that. And then going into Star Wars Rogue One, you know the ending, so there's no surprise. The only thing that you wanted was how come he wasn't a Jedi?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like this is the guy you wanted to be the Jedi, and he does the mantra. It's not really a prayer, it's more of a mantra. And it wasn't like a surprise dual lightsaber, none of this. And you're like, man, this guy is just a vigilant devotee. He is not a Jedi at all, but he had that skill and he was completely blind. And you were thinking, why wasn't he a Jedi? And I thought that was kind of a waste on the story. Like he should
yeah,
have been a low key, hiding out as a guardian Jedi, and his best friend was actually his protector during this time. To give him fair
yeah.
warning, but it never
Yeah, I
happened.
mean, I think you and I talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this numerous times, and I wish that Chewit, I think that's his name, Chewit,
Yeah,
he that he was a Jedi that was supposed to be guarding those crystals. And when the fall of Anakin to becoming Vader happened, and Vader was doing the Great Jedi Purge, that he pretty much disappeared. He's like, no, he can't fight Vader. He's not Academy trained. He's just pretty much he's a
unnatural.
yeah. Well, no, not I wouldn't say that. I would say more of he's just a he's a security guard that just knows the Force, and he's partially trained in the Force. So he's not a fully
I
trained
mean,
Jedi or
he's
anything like
not.
that.
I watched the Antonio Banderas movie called Security. A former special forces guy ends up in a situation where he has to get a Joe Schmo job, and
Yeah.
then Joe Schmo, the lead of uh, the security team or whatever, was like, "Oh, this, and this," and then he does the whoop de whoop thing towards them, and he's just in there like, "Okay, bro, it's cool, like you do you." And then something happens where a situation, somebody comes into their, I think it's like a mall or whatever, comes in there and needing help, but something else is going on where some they're being chased and all this, and then bad guys doing bad guy things, killing people, and they're like, "What do we do? What do we do?" And he's just quiet about it. And he's like, "You shut up. You do this. I'm gonna be right back." And he saves. It's a kid that he saves, and it was cool, but it's just like that situation where it's like, he's that type of guard, but he's uh, guarding, the crystals.
Mm-hmm.
But he has like training, like he's basically special forces if you think about it, and just a regular security guard next to Vader. Like you're just Joe Schmo. Like you're not to regular people. You're special forces, but to me, you're the janitor in the mop closet. Like get out of my way. And
Okay.
that's Vader.
I can see what you're
Like
talking about. It's just
there's
like
two
Obi-Wan,
levels.
like it's like what Obi-Wan says, it's always to a different point of view. So from a
Yeah,
point of view to a regular person, this guy is an extremely trained person, but to most troopers, like even his friend who's a trooper, his trooper
yeah.
was still a badass. I mean, he could still maul people down left and right, but he's been in wars for a long time. You could tell he's been in wars for a long
But
time.
his friend has not.
Yeah.
So he treated him differently. He treated him like a regular guy. He didn't treat
Yeah.
him like a guy that had the force behind him.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you still praying? Like, get that mess out of here. Like, I don't want to hear your noise." Like
Yeah.
that was his attitude towards it. He was like, whatever, bro. Like,
Right.
with that's what it is, really. Like if you really break it down like that, that's what it is. It's like, to regular people, that guy, it's like, oh wow, amazing. And then to people who've actually been in the fray, who've actually bled for their beliefs, they see him, they're like, calm down, dude.
Yeah. Right.
So going back to Dark Crystal, knowing the ending, uh, I don't see this truly like getting like a lot of seasons. Like maybe a second season if you drag it out three.
I
If
wouldn't.
you go so far as trying to get 5 seasons, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, that'd
Like
be stupid.
unless you're continuing after the movie, then okay, 5 seasons, I get it. It's like at the end of the third season, you're like, yo, watch the movie, and then after the movie, you watch
Yeah,
the
the
whatever they're doing.
resurgence. Yeah, basically it's supposed to be the golden age. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um. Okay. Yeah. Now I know you asked me about did I watch it chapter two, and
yep,
I put a video up about it. I put up a non-spoiler one, so I'm gonna keep to the non-spoiler one until probably about Wednesday. That's when my spoiler will come out, and I like this movie. Is it better than the first movie? I believe, in my personal opinion, it ties with it. They wrapped up a good amount of the story. They did some hiccups, and I don't want to reveal it there, but I think when you and I were talking about this, the first movie, we were talking about the first one. There were a couple of things that you and I talked about, and I'm not going to reveal it here because I don't want it to be any spoilers.
yeah.
I believe that they did a hiccup of, I'll say, about two or three hiccups in this movie, but they they did explain a little bit more about what this movie is about. Pennywise. There was no in this movie there was no reason for us to get any more about the losers. We already knew them. We already knew, their backstories, where they come from. We understand a little bit. We're getting a little bit more understanding of
But we're
what.
learning what he is.
Yeah, we're learning what he is. We're learning about the deadlights.
Why?
So
Yeah, why
yeah,
he is.
we're learning about the deadlights. So they mentioned a couple of things that they mentioned a lot of things that happened in the book. So I think that the director did a very good job with that, giving us a good explanation about from the book and putting it into the movie. Um, and I really liked how they um, they adapted the fact of not of his quote unquote true form, and they illustrated what his true form is versus what they did in the '90s version. Now, I you and I both know that movie was made with a TV movie budget. I mean, come on. I mean, it's not going to be groundbreaking or anything,
Yeah, it's like
but
you watched it for your sitcom actors that you like
yeah,
in a horror version of
yeah,
what they go
and
through in a
yeah,
sitcom life.
and that whole movie was, in all honesty, it was driven by Tim Curry's Pennywise. That whole movie was driven by Tim
Right,
Curry's
like
Pennywise.
I don't care how much you like Jack from Three's Company. May he rest in peace. John
Yep.
Rivers is a great guy and all, but you did not watch that movie for the people that you recognize from TV. You went and saw Rocky Horror Picture Show's Tim, and you're sitting there going, "What? That's darkness."
Yeah. That's
Like,
darkness.
oh my God, like
That's the
that guy
dude from
is.
Clue. That's the dude
It's
from
like that's the
Clue.
butler,
He was the butler.
but you're looking at it like this guy played the son of the devil in Legend.
Mm-hmm.
For people who've never seen Legend, that you need to see this movie.
Yep.
If you
Actually,
like him
I
as
would
Pennywise
say,
in it, you definitely need to see this.
I would say, watch the director's cut. Watch the
Yeah, the
director's cut of
director's
it.
cut because it has more of him in it, so
Yep.
you really want to watch it because
Yep.
like he was very imposing. Like as a kid to see that, like I wasn't scared. I was just in awe of
Yeah.
how cool,
Yeah.
how he looked, how he had his mannerisms make him be charismatic. Like he wasn't just to be a beast just because I'm a beast. It was I'm the son of the devil, and I'm gonna send you to the abyss, which is where his father is at,
Mm-hmm.
and he is the sun. of Lucifer, but they didn't really say it like that.
No, but
But
it's
that's
attributed.
his thing. That's what he
Yeah.
is. So he is the personification of what we see as the devil. But if you really think about it, uh, watching the show Lucifer, that's technically what the devil is. What Lucifer looks like is an angel. He is a fallen angel. He doesn't have the demon horns or none of this stuff.
Yep.
He plays tricks on you and he has the what he calls the devil face or whatever like that. But that Lucifer was the most beautiful of all the angels.
Yep.
So he's not going to look like a demon. He's going to be the thing whispering in the ear saying, I want this, I want that. He's not going to tell you want it. He's saying it as if he is doing a third person thing in your mind. Like
Hmm.
he's playing a trick, like, I don't exist, but I'm here playing with your brain. I have a kid out here back in the day doing his thing, but he was grotesque. He was a Nephilim. He was the
Hmm.
monster. That the personification of what you think the devil is was not the devil, but his son in this movie.
Hmm.
His son was running amok. He had his ugly little goblin people doing their thing, the hobgoblins
Yeah.
doing their thing, and there was a difference. He had goblins and hobgoblins, and the hobgoblins were the ones that were hunting down the unicorn and
Yeah. Trying to get
the
the
princess
unicorn
and all
horn
that.
and
And then
try to
they had the
destroy the pure.
goblins, which was the little things that you see here and there. The goblins were like nothing compared to what they were. The hobgoblins were kind of, I guess you say, like fairies that have fallen, just like how Lucifer himself has fallen. They weren't just like regular goblin creatures. That's why they're hobgoblins. They were special. They were different. They're stronger,
Yeah.
smarter. They're not squishy next to their, I guess you could say, cousins.
Yeah. In a
I
way.
mean, that's what the movie is playing on. Like he becoming Pennywise. I think did he do Legend after or before?
Way before. Because remember, Mia
Oh yeah,
Sarah was
that's right.
young and Tom Cruise was hella young.
So what was that like?
80, like I'll say
85?
83, maybe 82, 83, bro. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Tom Cruise's first movie was
Yeah.
The Taps,
Yeah.
and
I
he was
think
supposed
he
to be an
I think
extra,
he
and then he
did.
got pulled in.
Yeah, I think he did Taps, and then he did one other movie, and I think he did Legend after that.
Right, yeah,
Because
yeah.
Legend
So
was one of his first sets of movies. Because no one knew who the heck he was at that time. He was just he looked like the beautiful Playboy. He had a baby face. He
yeah,
had a baby face. So he was handsome and debonair for that time. So that's the reason why they got him. I mean, if you really think about it, in a way, he was almost like the young Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio young was like that. He had a very beautiful baby face. But
yeah.
but
The
now
only difference is that
Tom
we didn't
Cruise
become
aged more
fans of
better than he did though.
Legend. We became more of a fan of him from his Mission Impossible movies.
True.
We watched Top Gun. We watched. I mean, I wasn't really a complete fan. I started liking him more when he did Last Samurai, and then I
Yeah.
really liked him when he did Collateral.
Yeah.
When he did
Yeah.
Collateral, that's when I was like, yo, I really like how he is in these type of movies. Like he was a bad guy. He wasn't
Yeah. I think it was one of his
just
first times
a
ever
good
playing a
guy.
bad guy.
I think it might be the only time he's played a bad guy, really, like a
Yeah.
true bad guy.
Yeah. Hmm.
And he did a phenomenal job. Like
Yeah.
you wanted him to do the chaos and the
Yeah.
mayhem. You wanted him to run around the
I wanted him
city
to
and
succeed and kill Jada Smith's character and get the heck out of town, but
but like
I mean, it was.
like show like they did the banana peel thing,
Yeah.
which is kind of annoying. It's like this guy is an elite assassin. He's not just like you know again Joe Schmo the killer.
Yeah.
He's an elite assassin. He's not the guy hiding in your broom closet. He's the dude that you send to get rid of people. A cab driver who ran around with him is not going to beat this guy. I'm sorry, but like tripping over a banana peel or slipping, like you don't even slip. Like you trip somehow. Like you fell on your shoelaces and somehow he beat you with a random shot. Like that's very annoying. Like And a true assassin who was trained in the military and everything, that would have knew to duck and cover somewhere where his random shots would have never hit him. He's not going to stand there gung ho waiting for a random bullet to hit him.
Right.
Then he's not going to stand in front of the door like that. He's going to do tactical movements. Throughout the movie, he was doing tactical movements, and all of a sudden, in the freaking subway scene, he's no longer tactical.
I
He
know, right?
loses his analytical thought. He was analytical through the whole movie, and all of a sudden, like this last moment, like I gotta get it. No, he's still gonna be analytical. He's gonna be like, "Yo, I hear a click. Are you out of rounds? That's too bad.
Yeah.
And he would have killed him. And if he
Yep.
would have heard a click from his, he would have took the gun and beat him to death with the gun. Because he knows this man is not a fighter. He's gonna beat him to death, and then he's gonna give her a horrible death. He's
Yep.
probably gonna throw her off the train.
Yep.
So
That's what he would
he's
have
gonna
done.
be a crippled pretzel in the ground, and it's like, hey, remember that we threw Mama off the train? Well, I
Yeah.
actually threw you off.
Right.
Like, it wasn't no. At that should have been an alternate ending at least.
Yeah. That he just
But
basically he injures the guy, and he basically tells him, he teaches him a lesson. Like he pretty much was teaching him a lesson with that whole movie, that if you want something, you take it. That's pretty much what the world's about. If you want something, you take it. So he basically is, the alternate ending is, he injures him as he's sitting there saying, no, 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 don't kill her. He goes, what was I been telling you throughout this whole thing? If you want something, you take it. And he throws her off the damn train, and as she dies, he's sitting there and looks at him and goes, I told you, I take what I want. He leaves. He leaves him there to freaking ponder what the hell just happened. Like, he just got this woman killed because he was stupid. So, I mean, that would have been a really cool alternate ending. But
yeah,
um,
I mean that would have made more sense. That's realism.
yeah,
Like you you having that luck to kill somebody that's an elite, you should have won the lottery.
yeah,
You should have never been involved with this guy. If luck was real, was that good, you would have won the lottery. You would have had that limo company, and you would have been chilling on the beach, drinking some beer or mai tai or whatever you want
Mai
to
Tai
drink.
with that lawyer, because
Man, you would have
whatever.
been long gone. Like
Yeah,
this would you would have never met him. There would have never been a situation because somehow you're that lucky. If you're that lucky to get somebody like that, you should have won the lotto years ago.
right.
But sorry, my dude, this is reality, and this is what's gonna happen. Whoops!
Whoops.
Right off
Yeah.
the train. It's like, hey,
All right.
who
So,
died?
going back to it, chapter two. Um, uh, it a lot of I've been looking at a lot of the reviews, and some people are saying like it's good, but is it as good as the first movie? That there was one talking about. I didn't read them. I just read the headlines, because a lot of the critics out there are they're just talking negatively, just because they know that's the only way for them to get any levels of clicks, or people wanting to read it. Me personally, I don't want to say that. I'm saying is that this is a continuation of a story. It's either going to be as good as it, or it's gonna be equal with it. That's the way I always see it. The only way for a story to be somewhat of a continuation that's going to be better is it kind of wraps itself up in the first movie, and then it continues on, but it actually has a much deeper, it has a much grander scope. And the best way I could say it is freaking Star Wars Episode 4, from New Hope to Empire Strikes Back. New Hope was good, but Empire Strikes Back was bigger because you got more of the villain. You got more of
Or
Vader, and you got more of what the heck was going on. But in this one, this was supposed to be 27 years later, and you're catching up with the losers, and them realizing that their battle against Pennywise down the sewer, it was for naught. They stopped him, but they didn't kill him. So they have to come back and relive their worst levels of horrors, and come together as a team again, to go against their greatest fears. So that's how I always looked at this movie. And again, you and I talked about the 90s version. The 90s version did a really good job of it, but it did depart farly from the book. This one went a little bit deeper into the book, because they talked about a lot of the stuff that happened in the book in this movie. And I think that the director did a very good job with that, because there was one thing that really disturbed me, and I was like, okay, how the hell did these little kids? Now this is going back to the first movie. This is not gonna be a spoiler. If you haven't watched the movie, I don't know what rock you lived under. So,
Yeah, too bad, so sad.
yeah.
The
So,
inhaler does a good job.
yeah. So,
It's like, come on, man.
yeah. So,
Lucky rocks and
it
everything all involved.
so in the first one, you have 7 little kids around the ages of 11 to 13, and they're scared out of their wits because they're dealing with a clown in a suit, and he's having balloons, and he's sitting there drooling out of his lips, and he's talking about he wants you to come down and play with him. Are you, dude? What the hell? That's one. Two, he morphs into all these different things and frightens the crap out of their deepest, darkest fears. So my question was, especially in the first movie, this was back in the 50s. This movie was supposed to actually have place in the 50s like it was in the book.
And
Well,
in a rural area too,
yeah, in
not in
Derry,
the
Maine.
city.
Yeah, in
This
Derry,
is
Maine, which
not,
makes sense. It was a small little town. But
or
how in
not
the
even like
hell?
a suburban area. Suburban is still like very busy, so this is like so rural that your neighbor is actually freaking 3 miles down the road.
Well, no. The way Derry was created was it was almost like the Andy Griffith,
That's
almost
what
like
I'm saying.
Mayberry.
Your neighbor is 3 miles down the road. It's a
Yeah.
farm. You live on farms. Like
Well,
this
they
area
also
at the
have that
time, the
little
50s,
suburban that
they
they
weren't
also
really neighborhood, really. Like when
well
you were in town, they had like a
they
small
did have
house.
suburban neighborhoods, but it
But
was
that
like
was when you're in town. But these kids were
yeah,
supposed to be farm children. These weren't, I live in
true.
town. If they lived in town, they would have been a little bit more educated in the situation of why would I want to go to an abandoned house? I already live in a, like, you guys are dumb. I'm out. Like,
Yeah,
they're
right.
not going to do that. Like, they're not curious. They already seen buildings. Yay. And they move on. Like, or they
Um,
would go watch their sci-fi, or listen to their sci-fi, stories on the radio or something.
yeah.
Like,
So, the one in the 50s, it made sense. I mean, the 50s was a pretty innocent time, so it was understandable. But my question was in that movie, in the 90s movie, was how in the hell were these kids gonna basically mentally go down into these sewers and defeat this damn clown while one of them is stuttering like like Porky Pig, and you have one of them is a hypochondriac, and you have another one that just keeps blowing out jokes, just try to stifle the mood. You had, I mean, it just they were so off as a team that how the heck were they going to come together as a team to defeat this clown? That was in the 90s version. In the remade version, it made sense. The leader of that team was Bill. When Bill realized in the first movie that his brother was dead and it was that clown that killed him, he grew balls, stopped freaking stuttering, and all of them started to come together and they literally beat the crap out of the clown. So I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense because in the 90s version, it made no sense how these kids were going to basically, and they were all about to pee on themselves and going down
yeah,
there
and
to deal
they
with them.
accidentally, the inhaler was an accidental thing.
Yeah.
Like years, the rock, right? They call it the lucky rock.
Oh God.
like,
So yeah.
like it was a meteorite or whatever it was. They found out as a doll, and they found out, oh, that's his weakness. I'm like, so
Don't spoil.
he.
Don't spoil. Don't spoil.
But this was in the '90s with John Ritter, man. That's not a spoiler.
Oh
That's
no
a
no no.
fact.
Yeah no. What was it? It was a silver. It was a piece of silver.
Silver,
That's what
but
it was.
it was a meteorite. But we
Yeah,
knew this.
whatever, dude. It's
Like in the
stupid.
'90s, it's stupid, bro. It's like I already know Legend came out long before Pennywise, but you kind of wish that he did that first because of how kind of cheesy it was,
Right.
and the coolness of how he wasn't as darkness should have been in the '90s.
Right.
But
So
instead, it was reversed, and you're like, oh man. Like,
I know.
but yeah,
So
it's like they stumble upon. He all of a sudden he's like the Superman of evil. Like what? Like before Brightburn, we had Pennywise
yeah.
allergic to rocks.
Right. So
Oh, and Halers. He must have been allergic to the speed that's inside that Haler.
yeah, I know. I think what they never really explained it in the 90s version, like why they were able to,
No, it was just
why
random.
he was able to spray his inhaler in front of him. And it's like, this is battery acid, you slime. He's all, he's in there screaming his face off. I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? It's
You're like,
gas, bro.
wait,
It's
what?
nothing
Like,
new, man.
I'm confused, kid. Don't you need this to breathe? Smack.
Right? I
You
just
know,
I
what
wish they
was in it?
explained it. I just wish they explained it. They explained it much better in this version than they did in the '90s version. So that's why I was saying is he did a much better explanation about why those kids were able to beat the crap out of that clown down in that sewer and they were able to survive. I mean, you just said it best. I mean, they're throwing rocks at him and they're saying that it's made out of meteorite. One kid is blowing his inhaler in front of him, says it's battery acid. He's in there going, "What the fuck?" You know, he's like, "What the hell is this?" Ah! He's like, "I had a better time
My eyes.
taking on these
I was
little
like,
other little kids."
but the
So
funny
he's
thing is, it's like an inhaler sprayed in somebody's eyes is gonna hurt everybody. Like
yeah,
it's not like random. Like it's going to hurt you regardless. It's going to burn. It's like throwing salt in somebody's eyes and wondering why it burns.
yeah.
It dry
So
your eyeball out. Like this is what's going on. Your eyeball turning into jerky. You better rehydrate it. Like hurry up.
So that's one of the reasons why I was like, what the hell? But in this one, they did a really good explanation. Because in the first movie, they didn't explain it. They just had them beat the crap out of the clown, and you're like, okay. So I attributed it to Bill. I attributed it to Bill. They all got their will and strength from Bill because he kept leading them, and it made
Yeah, but I
sense.
wouldn't say Bill had uh, the will or anything like that. I think it was
No, he came
more
to
of a rage.
well
No, he had
no
more of a rage. Like
yeah he had a
you
rage.
took from me, my brother, who I love more than anything, more than my mom and dad. You stole from me my most precious thing in this world, the one thing in this world that I would make anything for, and you stole that from me. That's when I gathered what made him stop stuttering. Like he got very angry. Like now you're using him to taunt me. Like yo, my dude, I'm going to kill you. Like you turned me into something that I should have been a child, but you stole my innocence. You stole the most precious person in the world to me. You took too much. Now I'm going to freaking end you. Like there was no will, there was no hope. It was just complete, utter rage for this creature. Like you're a trash bag. I'm going to get rid of you. You're trash. You're going to go in the landfill, and I'm going to do it here in the sewer. I don't care if they help me or not. I'm going to do this. And that's when they saw that and they're like, yeah, we can do this. Like, Bill didn't care about them. If you really look at it, he didn't care anymore. He was like, I'm going to do this by myself. You guys run, do whatever you want to do, but I'm taking out this trash bag no matter what it takes, even if I die here and now. That's what he wanted for himself, for his brother. Everybody else that was there with them didn't exist anymore. They just happened to wake up at the moment that he really needed them. He didn't give a speech really that meant anything. Like he didn't
No.
care. Like all he saw was red. That's all he saw at that point was just complete red. Like he wanted blood from what I saw in the movie. But this is somebody who's used to violence in their life, being that I was a bouncer for every day and other things in my life that I've done. But, seeing that, it's like he didn't have like hope. He didn't pray to God. None of this. It was just rage. That's all he wanted.
Well, then they explained it a little bit more and they kind of backpedaled a little bit on Bill. But there's a reasoning why. And if anybody who watched the '90s version, you'll kind of understand the reason why. And I don't want to spoil it. So, but Bill Sarsgaard playing Pennywise in this movie was still phenomenal. It felt like it was like he didn't lose a step. He was still the
Creepy
same freaking creepy
bastard.
ass clown, you know, same creepy clown, man. He still did the eyeball thing. You're just like, dude, okay, this guy's, like you said, this guy's got to go. He's got to go, man. This dude is creepy as hell, dude. I mean,
But in the trailer, you see it, man. He did it to him again. Like, yeah,
mhm.
you messed me up a little bit when you were a kid. And this is the trailer, so this is not even a spoiler. Just watch the
Yeah.
freaking trailer alone. when the mirror maze.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
man, Bill was like, "No, like you're gonna do this to me again? Like, and
Yeah,
this is some
he's
random
yeah,
kid. Like,
yeah,
this is what he's seeing. This
and if
rage
you
of losing
look,
the brother."
if you look at one little piece of it, he said, "Please," and then tears were rolling out his eyes. He says, "Please don't do this." And Penny was like, "I don't care." I was like, "Oh boy."
And then
So,
all of a sudden he's like, "All right, that's it, bro. That's it. It's over. I gave you one chance. I'm gonna kill you now." Like, and he's kicking the glass. Like you could tell that
mhm.
the kicking of the glass. It's kind of hard to see from the trailer if that happened after he said please, or did it happen before he said please? Like, and he felt defeated because he couldn't break through. Like, you don't know because the person who did the trailer was smart.
No,
Like
no, the way they cut
they
that trailer
played
was
it.
great. The way they
Yeah,
cut that
like they
trailer was
played it to
great.
make you think like that. Like, is he raged out as soon as he sees him and he's kicking like that, or is it after? So me personally, I feel after he saw the kid was in the situation, and I think he said please first, and
Hmm.
then when Pennywise was like, "It's like remember your brother," it's like, okay, all right, guy. I'm going to, and that's all. He started kicking the glass. Like I feel the please happened first,
Hmm.
and then he raged out. Like it just triggered him again, and it brought him back to that. I don't.
Um,
It's
no,
from
go
the
ahead.
trailer. I've never seen the movie, so I'm
Okay.
just that's what I feel. Like he raged out after he pleaded with them, and it's like you're pleading with a monster, kid. Like wake up.
Right.
He was still. It's like he became naive again out of nowhere. And then, well, anyways, like you said, like there's stuff that happened in his life growing up that made him tone down quite a bit.
Yeah,
Like
that
he
he
could have
yeah when he
stayed
grew
rage,
up,
but he
because I
didn't.
mean they okay this is not gonna be a spoiler. I mean if you watch the first, I mean if you watch the '90s version, Bill is a writer. Beverly
Hmm.
is a fashion
Designer.
business designer. Thank
Yeah.
you, fashion designer. Mike is a librarian. Ben
Yep.
is an architect. Richie is a stand-up comedian, and Stanley is a I think he's probably in insurance. But the only thing they changed was Eddie. They changed Eddie from the '90s version into this one. In the '90s version, he had a limousine business that was serving out to the stars.
Yep.
In this version, he when he grew up, he became a risk agent, which actually makes sense to the type of character he is, to his whole how he was as a kid, and that makes a lot of
Well,
sense.
see, the thing is, like, people don't under. Oh, okay, what there's from my field of violence, a risk agent to me, where I'm at, is
Mhm.
somebody who comes in and just ruins your life. Like, just comes in and just takes you down. But he's talking about business perspective.
Yep.
It's somebody who, and in the, whether
Yeah,
that was
I think they said he was a
2016,
risk
whatever it is,
analyst. He was a risk
he
analyst.
analyzes securities. He fixes the potential breaches that you can have.
Hmm.
Like he's trying to
He looks
analyze
at the worst case scenarios and knows how to and
and tells
basically
you what you need to fix before it's too late. So
exactly.
it's not the I'm an assassin guy. Like
Yeah,
he's not
he's
tough.
not no
He's
Billy
nerd.
Badass. No,
Like he's
he's no
complete
Billy.
nerd. Like this guy is soft.
Yeah,
Like but he's smart.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
well, he's smarter than everybody else technically because of what he does.
um, and this is something I said in my non spoiler. The actors they got, Ben, the actor they got for the older Ben, the actor they got for the older Eddie, the actor Bill Hader, Isaiah, the older actor for Mike, and the older actor they got for Stanley.
Yeah, some of
They
them
look
really, really look like they're
they
related.
look like they were the young those kids look like the older younger versions of them. They
Yeah.
did so well with those casting.
But not
Um,
with Bev though.
no.
There's a mismatch that does not
Yeah,
match.
that the
Like I don't
yeah,
feel.
Jessica Chastain does not look like the actress if she was older. No, she looks way different. No,
You know who
she
could have
off.
did that role?
Mm.
How you saying that? I saw Fisher. She would have matched better. it
Yeah.
looks. Like if
Yeah.
you were gonna have a grown-up version of Beverly,
Yep.
it should have been
Azala
Borat's wife.
Fisher.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
I'd
would
have
have
been
been a
happy with that.
perfect fit.
Yeah. Yep. She because the actress that plays the younger version, she has that girl next door look. She has that
Yeah.
real girl next door look, and that's what Beverly's supposed to be from the book. She's supposed to be that girl next door, but she's a janitor's daughter. I'm not saying that Azala Fisher is ugly, but she has a girl next door look.
Yeah, she looks like she belongs designing fashion and not modeling fashion. That's the
Exactly.
whole point.
Yeah.
Like, you're not
But
supposed to model your own stuff.
yeah. Now, we're getting to my boy James McAvoy, and I know you said it, and I know a lot of people said, dude, in Wanted he
Scotsman.
was phenomenal. I didn't want to watch Wanted mainly because I was sick and tired of the Angelina Jolie trying to be
I
an
don't
action
care. I
actress.
didn't watch it for her. I
Yeah, I
watched it
know.
for Morgan Freeman and him. I
Yeah,
didn't care
but
about
but
anybody else. It was like, oh
yeah,
man, this guy's pretty good.
but you know as much as I did. The movie that got me with him was literally Split. Split got me with him. I was like, dude, I want to see more of him. This guy,
But it's funny. It's like you didn't like him from Narnia.
yeah, right. I know he was in Narnia. I know he was in Narnia.
He was a fawn? Like, what's a
Yeah,
fawn?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people, a
right.
fawn is a goat person who plays a pan flute, okay?
Yeah, right.
And he was
Yeah, a little
a
small satyr,
betrayer.
basically. He's supposed to be a little small
Yeah.
satyr, but the his acting is so he this man can elicit, and I don't mean like he can get the emotion out of you, but how he can portray emotion and flip a switch like it's nothing. I'm like, what the? Are you kidding me? And like the scene that you said of him, like the way you say
In
he
the
cut the way they
fun
cut
house,
that trailer, him talking to Pennywise saying please, and all of a sudden the next frame you see him just smashing, trying to beat through the
He's like, come
mirror. Yeah.
here.
So
Where are you going?
I
Like,
yeah.
no.
So and then if you watch one other scene in that trailer, it was a scene of him on the street and he's looking down and it's basically the scene with him looking at the same sewer that his brother died in, and you can see it in
Yeah.
his face and you can literally see exactly what you just said. It's
The
anger,
rage.
rage, disappointment, upset, sadness. It's like he's eliciting all the negative emotions
But if
that
he
you
had a
could ever
sledgehammer, like,
describe in one face.
yeah, it's like the sledgehammer, right? Like that, all the
Yeah,
emotions that you mentioned. If he had a sledgehammer in his hand, he would have started smashing that piece of the sewer up.
yeah,
He would have. He would have. Like when you
yeah,
really look at that scene, if he had something that could destroy that piece of concrete, he would have started slamming it down, like destroying it, so he can never see it again,
yeah.
erase it from existence in his mind. But he
So
didn't. It was just him standing
yep,
there
just
looking
standing there looking at it, and
defeated.
yeah. So I mean James Matt they did when they said okay we got the older actors to play as them, and when I saw James McAvoy I was like I'm sold. This movie is watched. I don't care. It's
And
when it goes
then
oh I don't care. I'm gonna go see this movie. Him playing the older version of Bill, sold. I think that this guy is going to really he's not going to take over the movie. There's no way he's going to take over the movie. The movie is about Pennywise, and
well, he fed off of other emotions from other people too. Like when Bill's character was looking at him coming down with the balloons, and he
mhm.
was terrified because he was afraid of what clowns. So when he saw Pennywise just floating down, and then you see Bill, James McAvoy, looking at him, yelling like, "Run, fool!" Like, and then he started running towards him, like, "Yo, he's gonna die." Then if he doesn't gather his strength and his anger towards this stupid clown, his friend's gonna die. And he starts running, but it's like out of nowhere. It really didn't show in the trailer, but from my because I write, so from my perspective, a crowd shows up and slows him down. And this is from a writer's perspective. I like to do this, and you do it too.
Mhm.
From what I've seen in the trailer, this is why it's hard for me to watch movies because I assess things already from the trailers.
Yeah.
And he's running, and he's trying to get to his friend, and the clown's coming down laughing, knowing that he's running, and all of a sudden it's like people show up out of nowhere. And it's not just like current people, it's like the dead that he controls shows up from the past and slows him down, and he can't get to his friend, and it's too late. And Penny did it to him again. He was like, I'm gonna do this to you every time until I get that delicious morsel from you. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for that true defeat that I can get from you. So I'll get everybody in front of you because I'm not gonna do it without you seeing. And that's his attitude. Like Bill is his true nemesis. Like I'm gonna defeat you. I'm gonna put you down to your knees. When I finally get that morsel I want to eat from you, it would be worth it. And that's why he keeps toying with them because he's trying to get Bill to break, and he's having a hard time with it. So he goes after the friends,
Mm-hmm.
brings back situations with children, and he's like he's really playing with them. This is Pennywise mentality. He's like, you're my true victim. You're the one I really want, but I'll kill everybody else just because. They're the side to the main dish. You're the entree. They're the snacks, the appetizers. You're the one I really want. But
Yeah.
that's what I assess from the trailer.
Yeah. Like I said, they did a really good job with the trailer, and um, James McAvoy did a phenomenal job in that movie. I think that uh, he he could do almost any role. I think he could do any role. I think just, if you put this man in a rom com, he could do it. You put this guy in a horror, he could definitely do it. You put him in an action adventure, he can do it. You put him in a drama, he can do it. So it's like you put him anywhere, he can do it. Um, and you give him a great part. I mean, you give him enough that keeps him interested. He'll give you 120%. And that's why when people were talking about like him playing as the younger version of Charles Xavier, would he be able to will he be able to give us the same level as Patrick Stewart did? Well, in my honest opinion, he basically absorbed everything that Patrick Stewart did and inflicted it into that character, but changed it in certain ways that made it more towards what made that he felt was the right way for him. And when they did Days of Future Past, they did a phenomenal job with that because you saw both Patrick Stewart and his acting coinciding with each other, and they're pretty much doing almost the same level of acting, and that shows how well they're doing it. And then you have Ian McKellen and Michael and Fassbender,
Fassbender. Yeah.
yeah, Fassbender, and they're acting almost the same exact way. So they did a really good job with the casting in those movies, and that's why I believe that James McAvoy is going to be one of those hot actors that's not going to be a AAA actor. He's going to be one of those. He's going to be a double A actor that's under that most people are not going to look at. But if you know acting, you know the type of actor he is. You put him in any role, he'll surprise everybody. So
But
I
you know
don't.
who else who did that too, though, was Jeremy Irons.
Yeah,
He always stayed just slightly under the radar. And then you know
yeah.
who else is doing that? And I'm telling you, man, it's the Britannian people, because you got
Mm-hmm.
an English actor, a Scottish actor, and then another English actor that you mentioned, Ian, and then
Mm-hmm.
is Purfoy Welsh or English? I can't remember, but I know
Welsh.
he's around.
Welsh.
And then McAvoy being Scottish,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing his thing. And then you got Liam Neeson and Pierce Brosnan. Like they hit that triple and went back down again. They do the same thing, and they're both Irish. But what American actor has ever done that?
No,
I
not
haven't
not
seen
many.
one.
It's very rare.
Like it's
It's
very,
very
yeah.
rare. And
Sidney
you know,
Poitier was the
huh?
only one I could think of right now
Who?
that's done that. Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
And he went back and forth to British films and American films. It's like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh wow, he played on the race boundary thing a lot in his movies,
Yeah.
and he never got an Academy Award, man.
Yeah, that was one
That's
of the greatest
blasphemy.
disgraces. That was a
Yeah,
disgrace in all
that's
honesty.
like Denzel Washington got one. What? Are you kidding me? Sidney Poitier blows this guy out of water when it comes to acting prowess. This
Oh.
guy was so good. I only seen these movies that he's done once, and he was so good in like Grapes of Wrath and like, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and all this. And you're like watching these movies. I'm like, this guy never won an award, never. And I'm like, man, even in his
He
old age,
probably
he's
didn't play
done.
those Hollywood games. That's probably why.
No, not at all. But then
Why the hell
as
would he?
he's older, he's done movies that and he did that movie. I believe it was Witchback with Daniel Glover and
Mm-hmm.
uh, freaking Quaid, and it
Oh,
was like
Dennis
cat
Quaid
and
or
mouse.
Randy? No, it must have been
Dennis,
Dennis.
Dennis,
Yeah.
Dennis. Yeah, it's always Dennis. Randy is like the comedian. This movie was it was dark. Jared Leto was in it like when
Oh, jeez.
he wasn't really popular yet, so he was like this kind of no-name guy before he
Yeah.
got his awards, and he was being sought after as the subject, but this movie was really good, man. Like you just this cat and mouse thing was going on, and then Sydney was in it, and he was the supporting actor, but you're looking at him at old age, and you're just like, yeah, you could tell that as his character, you could tell he went through a lot. And then watching Dennis's character, who was a cop, going through this, trying to find his son because the serial killer stole his son from his house while he was trying to look for him.
Hmm.
That's intense. And you're just like, wow. And then he brought Jared as the scapegoat and just played with them. He's like, "Oh, you're a doctor." He's like, "I was going to be a doctor," you know. And then he's like
Yeah.
finding stuff out, and he's in this pimped out Cadillac with nothing but naked women inside of it. You know, like a Playboy magazine was emptied out and it just vomited all over this car like it was bad. He was like, "Oh, this is what you like." He's like, "Yeah, this and this." Nah, man, he stole that car, bro. You just don't understand what this guy really is. But you don't know that. He plays it off in a way like he's the black cowboy that's just driving down a road and trying to get back home. But you just along for the ride. Nah, man, you were along for a different type of ride.
Right.
But it was a cool movie. Like it was one of those movies. But like seeing Sidney old after watching him in his earlier films, I just feel that he was truly robbed. Like they really need to justify uh, of giving him something. Yeah,
Right.
like he
Like
was.
at least a freaking lifetime achievement award or something.
Well, I mean, he's the only American actor that's ever truly had worth at that time, like really good worth
Right.
as a black actor. And then you had some other actors that were really good, obviously, but nowhere near his level, man. Like they were nowhere near. Everybody liked cowboy films at that time, so John Wayne was it. He's a great actor. No, he wasn't. He was a terrible actor. I do not like John Wayne. I don't care what anybody says who happens to listen to this later down the line, however long it is from now. I can't stand John Wayne. John Wayne is not like I don't believe this man can beat me in a fight. Like, but Clint Eastwood, I can see like I'm gonna have trouble with this guy. I'm probably gonna win in the end, but this guy is gonna hurt me. Like I'm gonna feel this fight. I could never believe John Wayne's baby face because he had that puppy baby face forever, and it's like he didn't have that 1,000 yard stare. I never believed it. I never believed he had that 1,000 yard stare. I don't care. Like True Grit was a great movie. No, it wasn't. Not for me. I never believed this man was tough enough to be that guy. Clint Eastwood, all day. But at that time, he was young, so obviously he couldn't play the role back in that time. But I do not feel any intensity from this guy. Like he was not that actor. Clint Eastwood had really good roles and all that, but he had that stare, that I'm gonna shoot you if you don't shut up, and you believe it. And then you had the comedy that he did with the chimpanzee,
Oh,
and he's like
Pink
Clyde.
Cadillac.
No, no, it was any which way but here.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Which
And
way but here, and then there was also any which way but loose.
right, because he had the pet chimpanzee and all this stuff,
Yep.
and he was like, Clyde, right turn, and bam, knock somebody out. Like it was funny, and Warner Bros. Was like, you sure you want to do this movie? And it turned out to be two of his bigger movies at that time, and they made money. Warner Bros. Loves Clint so much that so that's what I'm saying. John Wayne never got that level. He doesn't have that tough look. He's not gritty. He's not like Clint Eastwood set the term for action hero. The look, the mannerisms that you need to have in order to be an action hero. John Wayne
Yeah.
never did that because he doesn't have the freaking look. You look at Clint Eastwood, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like people who emulated him, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, they wanted to be action heroes. Clint was an action hero and didn't even know he was an action. That's how tough this man is. Like, come on. And then all of a sudden you got Harrison Ford. Like, you could believe Harrison Ford is going to put a run for your money. Like, he's going to fight you. Even when he plays weaker roles, like all of a sudden you kind of believe kind of the meek, weak guy as a president, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, he's like, "Get off my plane!" You're like, "Oh,
Air Force One,
he's
baby. He said,
possessed,
"Get
right?"
off my
He
plane."
just bam, he kicks him right off, and you're just looking at it, like, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, you're like, "I believe this guy's gonna whoop my ass." Like, that's the fear out of nowhere. Like Han Solo's about to kick me off the plane.
Right?
It's like this is my Millennium Falcon. Get out. Kick you during hyperdrive, just right out the freaking hatch. But to have really good actors and then not be recognized years later, like no lifetime achievement, none of that. Sydney was the true robbery of Hollywood.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
this is a complete true robbery. I love other actors. I mean, my favorite actor is Kurt Russell. And Kurt Russell kind of has a baby face, but then when you see him as Snake Plissken, you believe he's going to shoot you in the face. Like, you believe it.
And then
You're like,
Soldier.
oh.
Oh God.
And then, again, he has that cold stare, and you're like,
Yeah, those dead eyes.
but did John Wayne have that? Honestly, I'm asking this.
I've only seen maybe like 2 or 3 movies of his, but I wasn't really into spaghetti westerns when I was younger.
Yeah, okay, well, see, that's spaghetti westerns. There was only three of them. It was all Clint Eastwood movies. Those were the only spaghetti westerns.
Hmm.
And the reason why I'm saying this because the history of spaghetti western is this: when he did the Man with No Name trilogy, right? Those were
Yeah.
all filmed in Italy, and the director, his mother would make spaghetti for the set because this was low budget filming for them. Like, they didn't have much money. He got the actor he wanted, and then he got other actors that he liked through other westerns, but the one he really wanted was Clint, and he got him. But he had to film on a really low budget, so his mom would make spaghetti every day. So all that they ate was spaghetti on set, hence spaghetti western. So those are the only movies that are actually spaghetti westerns. So calling other movies spaghetti westerns, it doesn't classify because those were the only movies made in Italy, and that's all they ate. So that's why it's called spaghetti western. It's not comical. It's not. It was just what they ate on set every day. So that's the history of spaghetti western. There's only three movies that are spaghetti westerns, and that was those three. So
Hmm.
that's a little history for everybody that didn't watch those movies or should
Yeah.
watch the movies.
Well, when there was one thing that I saw, it was I saw the teaser trailer for the new Birds of Prey, the Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Um, okay, I'm gonna be completely honest, and I know that you're gonna have your personal opinion, your own opinions of it, and I have a feeling of what yours is gonna be. But I'm gonna give the movie a chance because I do like Margot Robbie as Harley. I don't I'm not convinced of some of the casting they put in there. Uh, I don't I love Ewan McGregor, but I want to see a much more in a vein of a oh man, who's that actor? Oh my god, the actor from Goodfellas, the main actor.
Ray Liotta?
Thank you. I want to see almost like a Ray Liotta Italiano gangster um out of Black Mask. That's what I want to
Is he
see.
playing Roman?
Yeah, Hugh McGregor's playing as Roman
It better
Sionis.
not be gay. It better not be gay. I know they hinted at that, and I don't
Yeah,
care what anybody thinks, but don't change a character because it's fashionable. Fuck your
yeah,
fashion. I don't. I'm not gonna edit myself on that. Fuck your fashion. Like, I don't care about what they think. This character was already established at that. Leave it alone.
yeah.
He is this way. Like, the only ruthless gay person I know of was Dahmer. That man was ruthless, and he ate you people. He ate you. You were gay, and he ate you. That's stupidity, but he was ruthless. Yeah, I don't really
Yeah.
see anybody else being that tough and ruthless. I'm sorry, it ain't gonna
Yeah.
happen.
So,
There's no reason for it. Roman Sionis is like ruthless.
yeah, he is ruthless. He's a typical in the vein. He is a typical, stereotypical Italian gangster that wants to that rules with an iron fist. He's not like Penguin or Two Face, and in some ways the Joker. If you really want to get him more into, I'm not saying gangster, but more of a criminal kingpin type. But Black Mask, yeah, and I understand that they don't want to have him with a mask all the time because it's Ewan McGregor. They could put anybody underneath that mask,
No, but I don't care
but
about seeing the actor. You know, it's like I want to
yeah,
see the character. Okay, yes, I know you're the actor, but make me believe you're that character. That's your job.
yeah,
I don't want to see you. I want to see the character.
yeah. So
I
we
don't
have to
care what you
see.
look like.
Yeah, um I want to come in there positive, and I want to see how it is. I still feel that a Black Canary is a bad idea. I
Yes.
still feel that um I still feel that Mary Elizabeth Winstead um
Who is
as
that?
Huntress, she's playing as Huntress, is a pretty bad miscall.
No, but
Not
who's that
because
actor?
of the fact that well, there are other. I'm sorry. There's other
You need
Italian
somebody
American
with
actresses they can get that look closer to her.
yeah,
Mary
but you need
Elizabeth
physical
Winstead
prowess,
looks.
man.
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead looks to me looks like Batgirl. She looks like a girl next door.
I can't place who that is. That's why I keep asking who it. I don't know who that is.
Um,
Like it's not clicking.
yeah, she played in that prequel movie for with John Goodman. It was almost in the same vein movie as Cloverfield.
Oh,
She's been in a
her.
few. Yeah.
She was the daughter to in part four of Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard,
Yeah,
right?
I never saw that movie, so yeah.
And she was the cheerleader in uh, the freaking stupid Drive movie where they killed Kurt Russell at the end of it.
Oh.
Deaf Riot or whatever it was.
Yeah, so she's playing as Huntress.
What? I
Now,
can't see again. That like the
yeah,
John Wayne face. She has that puffy. You're not tough face. How the hell are you
yeah,
not
that's why I
tough?
say that
Like you have no
she looks
prowess.
she's better as to me she's better as Barbara Gordon. She's better
Or
as
put her
Barbara
as
Gordon.
Oracle in that goddamn chair.
Yeah,
Like,
you could have made
right
her
in that chair
Oracle.
because at that time you're Oracle. I used to
I've been
fight, but
fine.
I got
I'd have been
crippled.
like, no, that's right there. I mean, you have an already established uh, Batgirl who's badass, and people are like, really? I go, dude, are you kidding me? She's badass in that chair.
Even in the chair, she was tough.
She
Like
was
she would
tough
beat
as
the crap
hell,
out.
dude. Bruce taught her how to be able to fight in that chair. Nightwing taught her how to use weapons in that chair. So
There's weapons
don't,
all over that goddamn chair. Like
yeah, there's
she
dude. She could
pulls
take stuff off of there
steel
and use it as a
pipes and
weapon for
everything.
God's sakes, dude. So no, she knows how to defend herself. Um,
She could do
so I don't care what
pull-ups. Can
anybody says
you?
about that. So and then I mean, there's some other casting in there that I'm like, okay,
This
but
movie's
I'm gonna give it a shot.
a powder cake. Like it's just it's Suicide Squad all over again. I feel bad for one person in this movie, and I could see her character moving on to other movies, obviously. And it's going to be the only character that survives because she does the character justice. Everybody else is going to be a hot pile of steaming crap in the middle of a field that you don't even want to look at or step on. And then you see a flower, like, oh, hey, hi, flower, that's a pretty flower. But you see this steaming pile of crap next to it, and you're like, well, that's sad. That's just sad. I feel bad for you. Uh, Good luck. you know,
Yeah.
like
So
you're throwing garbage next to somebody that actually plays the character the way it should be played, and
yeah,
these people
I
are going to be
mean,
garbage next to this person.
and so I'm gonna come into it a little bit more positive. I'm gonna give it a chance. Kathy Ann does deserve at least some credibility to show to me if she can be able to do this justice.
I don't even know who
I
that is.
can't I can't um I can't just because she made some changes, I can't just automatically knock it off. That's to me that's not cool. Um so I'm gonna come to it a little bit more positive and to see what she's trying to tell me. If it's a hot steaming pile of mess, it's gonna be a hot steaming pile of mess. I can't. I'm not gonna hold that back. Also the also I'm gonna give Christina Hodson, because she's the one who wrote this, because she wrote Bumblebee, and I liked Bumblebee. I liked the story of Bumblebee, how they did it. I didn't like some of the elements
I
in
mean,
the movie,
Bumblebee
but
was written with emotion. Like it
yeah.
wasn't like for anybody who hasn't seen this movie, I don't know why you're holding. You've watched a bunch of Marvel garbage. You can watch a movie that's actually got a better story.
Right. And
So the whole movie was emotional. Like it wasn't action driven. It was very emotional.
yeah.
So
So I think they did a really good job with that, and also building the relationship between Carly and Bumblebee. She did a really good job with that. And also she's gonna be the one that's gonna help write the Flash movie with Andy once they get that up and running,
mm,
and Ezra Miller. So
the sad scenes, I could totally see that, like with the mom and all that.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
you
what I'm
know.
saying. I'm gonna give her an opportunity, but this movie right here, I can't just immediately go, oh god, this is gonna be a train wreck. And I can't do that. I'm eliminating
Well,
that
for me,
out of my
casting
psyche.
choice alone tells me I'm like, oh man, and their acting levels are nowhere near that some people I would feel would be better for the role.
Hmm.
But it's
Yeah,
just
there's other
like,
actors. I mean, and a lot of people are sitting there saying, oh, they could do all diversity. Okay, okay, but one, you're gonna talk about having a black canary, but you're gonna have a white huntress who's supposed to be Italian.
hmm
What the hell?
for you people
That's
who don't
backwards.
know, Italian people, hey,
you,
you
yeah,
know
what
it.
the hell are you talking about? So that's how I felt about it. I was like, wait a minute, okay, you're gonna have a black canary
And have Wonder Bread
in
play the
Jossett
Italian.
in Smollett Bell, but you're not gonna complain about Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing as uh, an Italian American character. You're okay with that? Well, no, it's got to be one or the other. So,
Yeah, don't go
um,
by color. Go by actual like background of the people.
yeah, I
Like you,
mean,
that's the
there's
problem
a
with
lot.
these people. Like they and everybody is these people to me. Everybody.
Yeah, so I
It's like
mean,
you guys pick these stupid things to nitpick at, but it's only by color. It's not by actual background.
yeah, so I mean, Belle does not look like she's in shape to play this character. I'm sorry, she does not. She looks like she's a little out of shape. All right, and two, the stunt double looks like she's in far better shape than Smollett Bell is, and that's because she's doing the stunts. So it's like, what the hell? I mean,
But see, again, I don't know who you're talking about. This Bell
she's the one who's
person.
playing Smollett. Okay, okay. So, Smollett Bell is she was the actress that played the young friend to to the girls in Full House. She played the little black girl.
Oh, I really didn't watch that show, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of did, but like,
yeah.
it's I
She
can't do it.
she's been everywhere. I mean, she's been everywhere. She grew up on television, so she was a television star, and then she went into more black television, and then she moved over to other fields of movies, and then now she's this is some of her bigger roles.
You
So I mean,
know
she's
who could have done a Black Canary if you're gonna go that way?
mm,
Uh, Lenny Kravitz's daughter is more physical in movies than
oh
this person you're
Zoe,
talking about.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's like there you go, and you can even play it off because she's half. So you can even play it off like, well, you know, that her dad was white or whatever it was,
yeah,
and
whatever,
was
however they want to
black.
do it.
However you want to spin it,
Yeah,
you could have done that and just like justified it a little bit, but you didn't.
no.
Instead, you throw somebody who's not physically capable of doing it,
Yeah, I'm just
and
that's some of my views on it, and I think even if you saw some of the behind the scenes, you'd be like, wow, she yeah. So I'm not gonna disrespect it until I see the final product. I think that Ewan McGregor is gonna have a lot of fun with this role, but I really feel that this is gonna be more of that.
don't do it,
It,
Jared Leto, huh?
yeah,
Don't
I think
have
they're
too
gonna.
much fun with
I have
it.
a feeling. I have a feeling they're gonna do kind of like what they did to Joker in Suicide Squad. They're
I'm
gonna
telling
make
you,
him
they're
look like
gonna
almost like a
ruin.
laughing stock. Like
They're
he's
gonna ruin him.
like
He's gonna have instead of a skull, he's gonna have a stocking over his head.
right, cut out the eyes and shit. So
And marker. Yay.
yeah, he'll mark his, whatever. So yeah,
Freaking
that's
Punisher.
that was the thing I saw with the Birds of Prey, and it really made me go, oh god, okay, I'll give it a shot. Now
But sticking with DC, I
yeah.
want to bring up
Mm.
Hush. You
Oh,
already know
okay,
I'm
yes,
upset.
Hush, Hush, Hush. Okay, did you see it? Did you see it yet?
You already know I'm upset.
Okay,
You
hold
warned
on,
me, and
hold on,
you.
hold on. Okay, we're gonna talk about Hush because that was one of the things I wanted to talk about on this podcast. There's gonna be some spoilers. This movie's already been out. This movie's been out for a long time already. So if you haven't seen
Yeah,
it,
I don't even
again,
care about you people getting sensitive. Read the freaking comic. Just, I
okay,
can't. Like this movie was bad for me. Like
um,
it was entertaining,
thank you.
but
That's the
I was
word. That is the word. It was entertaining, but you're like, what the heck is
they
going
took
on here?
yes they took too many.
Liberties.
Oh my gosh! Like you kidding me? Like way too many. First of all, when he excuse me, when he falls, that actually happens for people that he's chasing her. Uh, his line gets snapped or cut.
Yeah.
You don't know right away, but it happened. Like you don't see it until you find out later. He tries to save himself by grabbing a gargoyle. His shoulder breaks. The gargoyle don't break because being that humans are squishy, the gargoyle stayed intact. His arm snaps. His shoulder just completely breaks out, and then he continues falling. This is from the comic. In the movie, the gargoyle's head breaks and he falls, and he's like, "Ouch!" Like he's on the ground, like passing out.
Right.
But he was knocked out completely in the movie. But in the comic, he was somewhat conscious enough to warn Oracle that one, I'm in trouble. I need help. Now, Catwoman doesn't turn around. Here's the thing. She goes, oh, okay, he disappeared and takes off. She is brainwashed by Ivy.
Yep.
So she's not gonna all of a sudden this made no sense to me. Like the continuity of the people who are just writing this is just why are they getting paid to do this? So you didn't read the comic, fool.
Nope.
How's she gonna turn around? That means she broke out of Poison Ivy's spell to
Yep.
save Batman, and then all of a sudden she's back in her spell after she saves him and disappears. Like, come on, what are you doing? Like that was stupid. And
Yeah.
then she comes back and like, oh, I didn't even know I was brainwashed. Like this is dumb. That bothered me a lot. The
Yeah.
person who saved him, because Oracle called upon help, and the person that was closest was Huntress. Huntress came in and started wailing on these dudes. Now, mind you, she's skilled, but she is not as. She used to murder people just to
Yeah.
get the job done, but she was trying to
Hold
impress
back.
Bruce, the
Yep.
Batman. Well, she doesn't know who he is, but still, trying to help show his standard by fighting them. And it's hard for her holding back her murderous rage because she came from a mob family.
Yep.
Huntress was the heir to a mob family, and she
Yep.
decided to go against that because she didn't believe in it. But she would kill mobsters. That's what her thing was.
Yep.
She saves him. She puts him in the car, and it's like, wow, he feels broken. Like she mentions like how bad he was, and Oracle's like, doop doop, and that's it. Put him in the car, leave him the fuck alone. Excuse my language, but you know, just go away. Like we tolerate you, but we don't like you. Like
Yeah.
that's what Huntress
Basically,
is.
they tolerate
She's
her.
the
They just
redheaded
tolerate her.
stepchild that they
Yeah.
don't want, but she's there. So that was that. And this is in the beginning, basically saves the kid. Now, however, going back to the beginning with him saving the kid is the same scenario. $10 million, all this other stuff goes on. Uh, why was Bane in this freaking Killer Croc was already perfectly made for this? You could have
Hmm.
put him in the cartoon. Why you need to add Bane? Like, are
Yeah.
you trying to prove that he could beat Bane in a fight? Killer Croc is worse. That's scarier for Batman. Like he's worried that this clawed, sharp-toothed monster is going to get the better of him somehow. But and not even like on purpose, like by accident. I
Yeah.
almost killed him with the rock, but it was a big one. Like, that's what he's
Yeah.
worried about. He's worried about this imbecile is going to accidentally kill him. This is scarier for Batman. Like anybody who actually reads the comics, that's a nightmare for him. That's not something with Bane. It's intelligence, it's strength, it's a play on everything. Because Bane's not an idiot. Even with some Venoms, then the mixtures that he doesn't go completely retarded like they made him in the
Yeah,
movie.
he
It was
doesn't
stupid.
venom. He doesn't venom himself out to the point where his intelligence is pretty much almost to the vein of the
He
Hulk.
is
He is
stupid. For
not
people who don't
stupid.
know, he's stupid smart.
Yeah,
Smart. Like he makes Venom. He doesn't need somebody making him the stuff. He makes it himself. He is that smart. He only needed the Joker one time to make something, and it made it worse because they gave him a super chemical that made Venom even more so. So it turned him into a monster, and it did make him a bumbling idiot. But he was like what, 4 or 5 times his normal size. I mean,
yep,
that had turned him into a monster. So he wasn't regular, and it stuck him that way. He got stuck that way because it changed his bone structure, it changed everything. But he finally broke away from that version. It's a different story. But
yeah.
uh,
But
Bane
um,
should have never been in the movie. It should have been Killer
yeah,
Croc. And then from there, Catwoman steals the money. Batman goes after Chase after beating Killer Croc. Moves on. He gets hurt. Then he goes to the hospital. They set up an accident, which actually it's played out that way in the cartoon and the comic, same thing, car crash, blah blah blah. But Oracle deals with it. No Nightwing, no
nope.
Nightwing, not in the scene yet. It's just Alfred saying, "Hey, I'm going to set it up. I need you to do this, and they need you to call Tom, Thomas Elliot." Now, people who don't know, Thomas Elliot was his childhood friend that taught him how to think like his enemy, how to play a strategic battle the way it should be played. Basically, they never played chess, but they played basically Risk. Yeah, they
Yeah,
played Risk, but they called it something else. But they played Risk, and he taught him you got to think like your enemy in order to beat your enemy. So you got to be your enemy, and that's what Batman played off of from a child until adulthood. Uh, he gets, and Thomas is like an incredible brain surgeon, being basically the master of his neural field. But he wasn't just a brain surgeon, he was also an inventor of medical devices and other things. He was a great plastic surgeon, all this stuff. Like he was all around, he wanted to be an all around better doctor than Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne failed him as a child, he feels, because he lost his parents due to a car accident. And
that
Thomas
they
Wayne
find
was
well,
supposed to
and
be the
then
best of the
later,
best.
yeah, and then later they found out that Bruce found out that it was Thomas that orchestrated
Right, but
the car
I was
wreck.
going to lead to this, man. This is Hush.
Yeah,
Like, so he goes through all this stuff. He saves Bruce. Now, it showed that look in the comic, where somebody that's actually evil gives that slight
yeah,
look and he walks away. And then in the cartoon, they did it, and it was a good job on that. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, great. You're moving on from that. He heals it. Now people were not paying attention to like the actual timeline, but it was actually like what, 6 months later, like
about
after
so.
he healed and all that, and then he goes fraying and looks for Poison Ivy, who found a way to go to Metropolis and do some nefarious things with the help of somebody that nobody knows yet, like a new rogue. So all this stuff happens. He learns all of this. Uh, he runs into Catwoman, and this is when the relationship started really growing as Batman and Catwoman was during Hush. So a lot of people don't realize in the cartoon, and they're like, "Oh, they're going a lot with that." That's exactly what happened. They got like really heavy into being with each other, and all this stuff happens. They team up, and he finds out that Ivy's in Metropolis, and they make like a deal, whatever, and they go to their own way. And then he goes in as Bruce for a meeting. And in the movie, he talks about, I always wanted to own a newspaper.
Yeah,
But however, that was stupid because in the comics, he owns the Daily Planet. It is his newspaper. This is one of the reasons why he's in Metropolis because it's one of his biggest companies. He has
yeah,
that one and a couple other
yeah.
companies out there.
What is it
He
like?
saved it.
what was it? It was part of his subsidiaries, but it's not a true Wayne, not a true
Right.
Wayne
Because
property. It's actually its own subsidiary, right?
he lets a friend run it, which
Yeah.
almost went out of business when he was running it because he just couldn't financially keep up with paying his star reporters, Lois Lane and Clark Kent, being that those are his stars, and then his star photographers, Jimmy and all that. But he owns the freaking paper. He saved the paper from failing because one, he loves Clark and Lois. Clark is his best friend. Anybody who knows that's Superman. Lois knows at this time in the comics, knows and is married to Clark, who is Superman. She knows
Yep.
this, so it's not a secret. This at this time she knows all this. She knows who Bruce is,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't really truly know uh, the Batman version yet. Like she just knows who Bruce is. This is your guys are friends, whatever, blah blah. But in the comics, she knew and didn't truly know what Bruce was as Batman. Like
Mm-hmm.
she had an idea, but she didn't truly know what he really was. So they talk, and he goes off to find Ivy and all this. And then there's this big battle that happens. Surprise! Ivy somehow was able to manipulate Superman into being her herald. And Catwoman's like, oh, Catwoman was upset that she got brainwashed by Ivy, but she goes in there ready to fight her, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you got this person because she was about to get choked out by the vines. Batman shows up, saves her. She's like, oh, you got your champion? Well, I got mine. And then Superman shows up and destroys the building. Like he opens it like a tin can. Like it was like nothing. And then they disappear in the sewers, which actually happened in the movie and in the
Yep.
comic. It's, lead lined, blah, blah, blah. They kept some of it, kind of the way it is. That stayed. We already know how he, broke out of it. But Catwoman in the movie, she shoves Lois off the building.
Yeah.
That's not what happened in the comic. In the comic, she was like, stay still, and she gets elbowed hard enough where she hunches over and accidentally drops Lois. So it wasn't like it was
Mm-hmm.
on purpose. She did it by accident because she knew Bruce would be upset, which she doesn't know Batman is Bruce. It's one of those things. She just doesn't want to disappoint Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Superman breaks out of his brainwashing, blah, blah, blah. All this happens. They get ID, whoop de whoop, moving on. But Killer Croc, it was a huge part in the catching again. And then this is his segue into Suicide Squad. This is how he got caught and pulled into Suicide Squad. There's people who don't know that's how it happened. Amanda Waller grabbed him after he got captured again because he escapes all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. He moves on. Now all of a sudden he's Suicide Squad, stuck, bomb in the brain. They move on from that. Now, the villains that were in this cartoon annoyed me because you were missing certain people. Damien was not in this
Mm-mm.
in the comic at all. He didn't exist. He
Mm-mm.
does not exist.
Mm-mm.
But Jason, people who don't know, when you read the comic, Jason is the reason why Hush was able to figure out how to think like Batman. Jason did this after he came back, but he still wasn't right. Like he was the Red Hood, but Bruce didn't know it. And that's what led into the Red Hood story.
Mm-hmm.
After this situation, Red Hood shows up, blah, blah, blah. He does his thing. Bruce didn't know Jason was alive. So,
No, he doesn't. He
but
because he
this is
wasn't
how he
dealing with
segued into the red. Like man, Jim Lee was smart, man. He segued some cool stuff in here and there and moved it on to a new story. Ra's al Ghul was another villain that was in this. Scarecrow, Clayface, the Joker was a part of it.
Yeah.
The Riddler was a part of it. You move on through all this in the movie, all this stuff happens. You see some of the villains that belonged in it, but you were missing Jason, why they were able to figure out
And
how
Tim.
Bruce was, and some of the villains that needed to be in it weren't in it. Like Raish wasn't in it. Scarecrow was in it, but Clayface was in it, and they kind of did Clayface the way he was. And then you don't have Jason behind the scenes with the Riddler, and then Hush. They were two separate people. That's what annoyed me.
Hmm.
You have this movie. They killed Thomas. He's dead. And then you have. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care if you guys watched it or not. It's not worth watching, honestly. Just read the comic. It is better.
Yep.
Uh, Riddler is Hush. Like, are you kidding me? Where's Hush? Like, this is retarded. Like, the Lazarus Pit made me better. I got a scar on my head. Like, really? Like, this? You're an idiot. You're the bumbling childhood retard that does child riddles against a man who's looking at you like, really, bro? Like, I could just smash your face in. I don't care about your riddle, but I'm gonna come. But this is what Riddler like really got a hard on for trying to kill Catwoman all the time because she was a part of the team of Batman and Catwoman stopping their plans. He got angry. Like, he was like, "Why is this woman who's a villain helping this dude? Like, this is like something that pissed him off." And they found Hush found out it was a relationship thing. He figured a lot of other stuff out. He did some plastic surgery to himself to look like Bruce Wayne. You know, he was trying to take over Bruce's life. That was his ultimate goal throughout all this. Obviously, Bruce being who he is, he was like, "Good luck with that, bro." You know, and he moved on. All this stuff happens. Hush gets defeated. You find out it was his childhood friend who was always a serial killer since he was a kid.
Yep.
And that's when you mentioned that, Thomas
Yeah, that
figured
he
out whatever.
basically orchestrated that his father and mother would die in the car crash, and Thomas Wayne wouldn't help them. That's the whole thing. He wouldn't help him. So he's like, what? So he basically put a whole hard on towards Bruce about the whole situation because of that.
Yeah, and then what did Thomas do? He tried to save him.
Yeah.
And that messed up Elliot's plans. He was like, wait, 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 wait. And then he had this like little rage outburst thing out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
he was shocked that Thomas Wayne was like, "Nah, man, I'm not gonna let," because Thomas was stupid when it came to this. He didn't realize that the parents of Bruce will always watch over them. They were always watching them play, and saw him as, oh, you got Bruce to open up and be happy and be his best friend. So you go and turn around and you're actually a serial killer who's trying to take over the life so you can take the money because his ultimate goal was to be adopted by the Waynes,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out
Nope.
because when he had that, this mistake was having that outburst and he punched Bruce,
Yep.
and Bruce was like, "What was that for?" And that's when Thomas looked at him and he was like, "Boarding school," and kicked him out, or military school, whatever it was. I forgot which one it was, but
It was most likely boarding school.
yeah, he booted them out of their life. We like, nope. And it's like flicking a bug, across the room.
Yep.
If he didn't punch Bruce, Thomas would have let him stay.
Yeah.
But he punched Bruce. And he was like, nope, not having that. Bam. Because he always had the feeling of, well, brothers fight. And Martha was naive, thinking, well, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, you don't understand what brothers are. Because Thomas came from like three brothers.
Yeah. He
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 was
had
like the
um he
youngest
had
of three.
uncles and such. So yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
understood
watched
that
it
crap.
happen.
But
And he used to fight with his family. So he was like,
yeah.
no, no, we're not doing.
So my take of the movie is they took a lot of liberties because the one thing I knew was Catwoman and Batman never had a huge relationship in that damn movie. They never did. They had their little play games, but there was a lot of stuff going on in there that Bruce was more concentrating on, and he was trying to figure out who the hell was this Hush guy. So why the hell was
Yeah.
he screwing around with Catwoman? Why was he having a relationship with her? I don't know why they did that. Um, I know why now, but uh,
Yeah.
but I'll tell that a little bit later. Um, the whole revelation of Riddler being Hush, that sealed me. I was done. I was like, are you
Yeah, it
kidding
was
me?
annoying.
You changed his character from one to another
Yeah,
instead
and it
of
wasn't even shocking at the end. Bruce was like, "Oh, really? Okay, whatever." And
yeah,
you're
he
like
looked at it and said,
10 minutes.
so basically,
Shoo shoo.
yeah, he he
It's like,
he he, he
Tom?
shoot him
What?
away. I'm like, oh my god. And like you just said, you are an idiot who does childhood riddles, and you think that you're in the same league as the Joker or as Two Face or Penguin. No, you're the laughing stock of the underworld. Why in the heck did they do that? What they could have done was they could have easily kept that story the same way, kept Thomas Elliot as Hush,
Yep.
and
Because
showed
that's
that
what
the
he is.
Riddler is upping his game. He's upping the game
Yeah, he's just
because
helping him enhance his planning. Like that's all he was. Like he was just helping him. Like, hey, you need to know this villain, this villain. Because Tom came in not knowing what Batman's villains, and then somehow I think it was Riddler who knew Red Hood because nobody knew it was Jason. They just knew it was a Red Hood,
yeah,
but they didn't know he was a hero still. See, Red
no.
Hood was trying to study them to figure out he wanted to see how his dad was going to beat them. That's really his ultimate goal was that. He
Well,
wanted to
and
see if his
also
dad was still the same
he
guy.
wanted to see he wanted these criminals to he wanted to prove to Bruce that these criminals are beyond redemption, that they need to go.
Which Red Hood came in after this.
Yeah,
People do like after Hush, Red Hood showed up. Like that
yeah,
story arc was great,
yeah.
very sad, all this stuff. And this is when Bruce found out about because when Red Hood and all that, Red Hood disappeared. Told him everything he needed to know, but he disappeared. But he was watching things. Like he didn't come back to Gotham yet until after Hush was done. And then when he found out that Hush was actually his dad's best friend growing up, he was like, "What did I do?" That he was upset that he accidentally set off this villain who somebody that Bruce knew, and then he figured out like, "Whoops!" And he was like, "Damn, well, anyways, I'm gonna go do my thing now." My dad dealt with it. Moving on, it is what it is. But then Red Hood shows up in that story arc because man, again, that anybody who's never seen Red Hood, that actually out of all the movies, that was pretty much the closest one
Yeah,
that stuff the comic. Like it was pretty damn accurate.
yeah.
There was a few liberties here and there, but it wasn't huge like Hush. Hush was it's
No,
too many
Hush
big
was a
stuff.
huge freaking
They did the
departure.
MCU, man. They did the MCU movement. Just
Yeah.
for one story.
Now,
Great.
one of my biggest pet peeves was I'm gonna sit down and read that book because it's on the DC streaming service. I'm gonna read it, and if the one thing that you just said was Damien was in the movie, even though he was nowhere in that story. I know
He doesn't
why they
exist.
did what they did. I know why they did it. They're keeping it in the same continuity as that the DC animated universe they're trying to build. Because if you think about it, this is supposed to take place. I believe this either supposed to take place before or after Death of Superman. So because Jerry O'Connell is playing the voice of Superman, and so is
His
Rebecca
wife
Romaine is
is the
playing as Lois
voice
Lane.
of Lois. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you still had the whole thing with Lex, the actor who played Lex. I think that he's a terrible Lex. I'm sorry, he's a terrible Lex Luthor. They should have got Mark Rolston, the guy who plays Lex's voice in Young Justice. That'd have been a lot better, because the way they wrote this version of Lex, he's more annoying. He's more. If people say that Jesse Eisenberg's version of Lex is annoying, this guy is more annoying because he looks more like Lex. He's more established as Lex, and he's more annoying than whatever they talk about Jesse Eisenberg's version. He has an annoying voice. He does stupid things, and on top of that, when Batman shows up, he's sitting there like, "Oh, you're here," and he's sitting there telling him all this stuff. He's like, "How the hell did you know that?" Dude, he's Batman. How the fuck would you not know that? He's Batman. He walked into your home and he's telling you, "I need information," and you're gonna be surprised. You're Lex
Yeah,
Luthor. You should be
exactly.
like, "Okay, well, what do you want?" Okay. He wouldn't say, "How do you know that?" He'd be like, "Huh. Well, I guess I have to up my security." That's Lex. He would not be surprised at, "How would you know that?" He's Batman. I mean, I was like, this. They're writing Lex stupid. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, that
Uh,
annoyed me. It's like, really? Like,
yeah.
come on
So,
now.
the whole thing with Damien, I understand why they're doing it. They're keeping it in the same continuity. But where the hell is Tim? Where is Tim? It is. I said this on numerous videos, and I'm getting a good amount
that's
of
the
traction
thing.
about it.
Tim existed at this moment. Like
Yes,
he was Robin.
he was
Like
Robin. At this time he was leader of the new Teen Titans. He was the new leader of Teen Titans. He actually had the he was still growing as his own warrior, as his own hero, but everyone in the freaking superhero community knows who the hell the second Robin is. The third Robin. They know about the third Robin. They know of Tim Drake, but they don't know that his name is Tim Drake. Um, but the way that they're doing this, it is completely insulting to me, and and I want this to get out a little bit more. Why is it so hard for DC to say, hey, there's a third Robin, his name is Tim Drake, let's introduce him, let's get him in there, and then if you're gonna do something more with Damian, guess what? You have more story to actually add to your whole universe. Because in all retrospect, Damian doesn't like any of his brothers when he first meets them. He doesn't like any of them. He says the first words he says is, well, my name is Damian Wayne. You're in my home. Get out. That's his first words to him. He says, get out. You all are not Waynes. Get out. Even though by the rule of Bruce Wayne's will, the first person that gets at his estate is not Damian. It's Dick Grayson. That's his first ward. That's his first orphan child he brought into his home. The next
yep.
one that can even touch that estate is not Jason. I know that you can say, well, Jason. No, it's not Jason. Jason cannot get any of that estate. He gets a portion of it, but he cannot have full control of that estate. So if anything ever happens to Dick Grayson, it all falls to Tim Drake. He is a
Yep.
legitimate
He was
Wayne by
adopted.
the rule of law. His last name is Wayne.
Yep. Because he took. I mean, he went from Drake after he was murdered, and then he was like
Exactly. And
adopted.
he went cuckoo. He went angry. He wanted to kill Captain Boomerang. But by the time he was going to kill Captain Boomerang died. The original Captain Boomerang died, and he felt that he lost that level of justice. Bruce and Dick Grayson got him out of that. They said, "Dude, you can't." And he's like he started to remember, how did Bruce feel when Jason died? And what did Tim do? He got him out of it, and he started to let it all go. But he still wants to make sure that Digger Harkness serves his crime for killing Jack Drake, which is his father. But
Yeah.
but he is a legitimate Wayne by rule of law. So no matter what Damien ever says, Tim has full control of that estate if anything ever happens to Richard.
Yep.
But and if anything
Then it
ever,
would be Damien, and then Jason's last. There's
yeah, I
nothing
mean,
to do
I
about
hate to
because he was
say it.
never adopted.
Yeah, he was never. Yeah, exactly. He was never adopted. You said it best. He did say, "This is my son, Jason." But when Jason died, sorry, that whole estate went bye bye for him. He gets a
Yep.
portion of it because he's alive, and Bruce is not going to leave him out in the cold.
Yeah,
But
but he had to be low key about it because technically he's supposed to be dead and he was buried.
exactly.
He has to have a new persona, and that's a hard thing to work with. But like going back to like Hush when he was like beating up the Joker, like Commissioner Gordon does talk to him and
Yeah,
bring him up.
he tries to convince him.
He shot him first,
Yeah.
but he grazed him. He didn't like
No, he
completely
didn't
shoot
like put it
him,
into
but
his rib
like
cage like he did. He didn't shoot him like he
yeah.
did.
But it's like meanwhile, it's like whoa, okay. And Hush brought in so many villains, like it was ridiculous. Like he played an ultimate game of chess.
Yeah, it was like you say, it was supposed to be that game that he and Bruce played when they were kids. Get into the mind of your enemy. And what's the best way of doing it? The only person that was ever able to get into Bruce's head and F it all up was Bane. Bane effed his whole brain up, and that's how he was able to break his back and defeat him. So Hush was kind of doing almost the same thing, but he wasn't straining him out physically because he had Superman to deal with. Well, he had a plan for Superman. He's like, nope, I got these kryptonite knuckles and I could just beat the crap out of him. He'll get weak around me and I could beat the living daylights out of him. But then he says that you got Lois. Don't harm her, but it'll snap him out of it. Okay?
Yeah, but the thing is, in the movie, he says whatever, right? But in the
Yeah.
comic, he never told her to grab Lois. She
Yeah,
chose
she chose to grab
one of
Lois.
three choices.
Yeah.
and she happened to pick the freaking nuclear bomb.
Right?
So that was smart.
It
But
was smart, but
the
even Bruce was like,
conversation
are
with
you kidding
Superman
me?
and him,
Why'd you do that?" And she's
he
like,
was like,
"It was the only way to save your life. He was gonna kill you." He's like, I had a plan. I had it
but that's
already
in the
taken care
movie
of."
though. In the comic, that never happened. In the comic, it was the whoop side because then he dropped her, and then Superman saves her. But he has the conversation of, why Lois? He was like, I didn't tell her to do that.
Yeah,
She had three choices. I just believed in you. As your friend, I believe in you.
yeah, that you'll
And
snap
that's
out
what
of
made
it.
him go, oh, okay. He was like, well, they shook hands like friends do, and they left.
Yeah, he left out of his city. But in this one, he got pissed off like, "Okay, take her and get the hell out of my city." Wow, really, bro? I mean, shit, I'm sorry about your woman, man, but that wasn't part of the plan. That was not part of the plan. You think I'm going to harm her? Come on, man.
Yeah, that was stupid.
That was kind
Like
of
you,
stupid. So I didn't like that part. Um there was um then the whole thing with the Riddler
oh,
really pissed me off. I didn't like
that
it.
and again, like you said, where was Tim? Because Tim was in,
Yeah.
and Tim actually boxes out with Catwoman.
Yeah,
He was like, "What do you mean you revealed your secret to Catwoman?" Pissed. He was
right?
pissed. And then he looks at his brother's like former uniform, and he's like, "What the fuck?" Excuse my language.
Yeah.
And then he goes
So,
after her again. Like he wanted to kill her. Like it's like, man, this is some effed up. And then she leaves. Like she does not stay in the Batcave. None of this.
yeah.
She runs
Now,
into Huntress. Huntress wants to shoot her. Like all kinds of stuff goes
yeah, there's a
on.
whole bunch of stuff they took out because they basically did the whole romance between Bruce Wayne and Catwoman, which I'll get into
Yeah,
now.
which really didn't happen that
It
much.
never
I mean, it happened,
well, yeah, it didn't really
but
happen because they were playing their little games. The reason why they did this, there's a reason why they did this. The reason why they did this is because of that Tom King uh, um, run that he's doing with the wedding between Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle. I think they're testing the waters and they're gonna try to do that. They're gonna try to adapt that. That's what I think they're gonna do. That's what I have a feeling they're gonna do. They're gonna do the whole wedding of Bruce Wayne, the whole wedding between Batman and Catwoman, because they've tested those waters. And you saw at the end of the movie, she he told her that that you're still too extreme. You're willing to do whatever it takes to win like that, and he says that's not how I play. She says you're willing to die to protect this city. What the hell, you know? And he's sitting there saying, but that's the type of person I am. So they couldn't get together, and I was like, okay, that's understandable. But in the comic, it was a lot different than that. It was a little bit different than that, and that's because they were just playing their games. They didn't have a full bloated relationship throughout the whole thing like they portrayed in the movie. And I felt that that was the most disingenuous that they did. They should never did a relationship. They should just had them playing their little games. And when that fight comes up, you're like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Because her having a relationship, she should know by her being around him and they're fighting, and it shows them fighting against criminals all the time. She should have realized that, dude, this guy is gonna defend. He's gonna do whatever it takes to win, and it's gonna take his own death if it means that the city's gonna survive. He's been that way all the time. She should know
yeah.
that.
And then on top of that, it's like the fight between him and Jason in the cemetery. You see, Batman was there. It wasn't just like Nightwing and her.
Yeah,
Nightwing wasn't involved like that. Like he wasn't involved
yeah,
like that. Tim was there with her, and he was getting beat up by freaking Jason, who is dressed like Hush. Batman's beating him down. He's like, "You are not the Robin who died." Blah blah blah. And he finds out it's Clayface. Then he has to go after Clayface, and take care of that.
yeah,
At this time, this is how come the reveal of Red Hood shows up because he still thinks his son is dead. So he doesn't like feel that okay, whatever. He doesn't know that all right, well, he's gonna show up and cause all these problems until he just told them and watched from the sidelines. He didn't go in there physically to help. He
right,
told Riddler and Hush, this is how he thinks, blah blah blah, and then he moved on. He's planning his debut as Red Hood later on, but he was watching them fumble around trying to take down his dad and just laughing at them. But he was just curious about what his father would do, and he didn't do it. So he's like, all right, I have to continue with my plan, which was what he went through in Red Hood. Because he knew, like, okay, well, Hush didn't do it, so moving on. And
Yeah.
Hush being who he
So,
is.
I mean, I, in my honest opinion, I mean, like I said, we talked about this, and the movie is entertaining, but they took so much liberties, it makes no sense. And instead of having Nightwing in there, you should have had Batwoman. You already established her. You already established her in there, so why not have her in there or something? But I still feel that they're shelving Tim Drake for some stupid reason. Do they feel that? I don't understand why. I don't understand why they're not at least giving the audience another Robin to actually sink their teeth into, and why. I mean, Dick Grayson is Dick Grayson. You can't replace him as the first Robin. That's asinine and stupid. And no one's gonna forget him being the first Robin. No one is gonna forget Jason Todd because he was the one that died, and also he was the one that the audience voted to have him get killed. So he was the first Robin that got the audience so mad at him that they wanted him to be dead by the hands of the Joker and blown up. They wanted him gone so bad. And then when he got brought back, like you love his character better. You loved his character better as the Red Hood. Everyone loves his character better as the
Oh,
Red
yeah,
Hood.
all day.
So I don't understand why they can't do Tim Drake. They did. Some people could say, well, they did do Tim Drake. Oh, you mean in the Paul Dini and Bruce Timm version? Oh, you mean the one that basically got the Tim Drake name but the Jason Todd backstory?
Yeah. No, I
No,
didn't
that
like that.
that was garbage. And then on top of that, you basically turned him into a rustabout that didn't want to be a hero in the first place, and he retired in the Batman Beyond version. So it's like, what? Uh, so that's Tim Drake. That's the Tim Drake that you guys are saying that's your defense. Damian Wayne, regardless of how you or I feel about the character, he hasn't been around for very long.
No.
Tim Drake's been his Robin for 20 plus years. He's been his Robin for a very long time, and he has established himself as a very strong Robin in the comic book community, and no one knows about him. It's like he's a dirty little secret. And I understand they want to introduce Damian Wayne because that's his son. That is Bruce Wayne's legitimate son, his blood son. I understand that, but you know that there's other Robins out there. Hell, we got Carrie Kelly as his Robin. She was a sloppy Robin.
Yeah, I didn't
Whoopie
like
freaking
that.
do. Huh?
I didn't like her as Robin. It was terrible.
Exactly. And then there was Stephanie Brown as his Robin. Stephanie Brown was his Robin. So I goes, huh? I go, yeah, she was for a little bit, but she was hard headed. She wouldn't listen to Bruce. Bruce kept telling her, "You need to listen to my rules," and she's like, "Okay." But she did her thing anyway. Almost got herself killed numerous times, and he fired
Oh
her.
man, he had to save her quite a bit. It was annoying.
Yeah, because she wouldn't listen. And he said, "You know what? You're out." He kicked her out. He fired her as his Robin. They're wondering, how the hell did you get fired as his Robin? It's the easiest gig. She's like, well, I was trying to do. Oh, so you weren't listening to his rules? Dude, it's Batman. You need to listen to his rules. He keeps you alive that way. You're not Dick Grayson. You're not Jason. At least Jason could go off. He could survive as Robin. He could survive on his own as Robin.
Yeah.
Tim Drake made it where basically Bruce did not need to have rules. He established rules with Tim, but then Tim surprised him so much he let loose those rules because Tim was smart. So he didn't need to put him on no restrictions.
No, because he's virtually him but younger.
Yeah. So I mean, I want them to give us Tim Drake as his Robin, give it to us, and let the audience go, holy crap! Well, who's this Robin? That's Tim Drake. Who's Tim Drake? Oh, that's the third Robin. Oh, there's a Robin before Damian? Yes! There was a Robin for the
Man,
90s. He had a Robin for the 90s. Damian did not come in until like 2005, I think. So,
yeah, that's what
yes.
she
So I really want them to build Tim Drake, and that's my biggest upset about this movie. I understand why they put him in there, but it's a huge mistake that they gave us that relationship and it went nowhere. But it was like a testing ground. It felt like it was a testing ground. The Riddler, instead of actually building his character up to become closer to a sadistic version of Jigsaw, you basically just made a more crazier version of himself, and he took another name. Okay, so you basically got rid of two characters. You
Yeah, I
amalgamated
know. I
two
wanted
characters
the
into one.
Jigsaw version, but it's like, yeah, great.
Yeah, I really, 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 in my personal opinion, I really dislike the fact that they did that to the Riddler. Riddler is my favorite Batman villain, and it's the fact of you got villains like you said. You got Killer Croc. He could over physically power Batman. You have Bane. He can actually go toe to toe with him mentally and physically.
Yeah,
The Joker can
physically,
push
yeah.
him mentally and emotionally. You have Mr. Freeze. All three, mentally, physically, and emotionally. You have Penguin, physically and mentally. You have all these other guys that can go physical or mental or all three and above, but the Riddler challenges him intellectually and mentally. He pushes those boundaries that he pulls out all these riddles and these type of games, these word games that forces Batman to have to not have to go and fisticuff people all the time. He has to actually think his way through each and every one of these Riddler plans. You could have kept him as that kooky almost version of Frank Gorshin, and then after comes out of the Lazarus pit, you have this sadistic version of himself that basically says, "I know who Batman is, and I'm gonna prove that I'm smarter than him." And and you have him elaborately go through this whole thing with Hush, and you have Thomas Elliot as Hush, and he does all these machinations to push Batman into figuring out who is the guy behind all this. Oh, it's Hush. No, it's not Hush. Who's the guy behind all of this? That's what made it one of the greatest mysteries in the comics, because who was the guy behind who is the whole thing behind this whole thing? It wasn't Thomas Elliot. It wasn't Hush. He was getting information. He was getting stuff from the Riddler. The
Yeah,
Riddler
he
was the
had
one
to
that was
get
telling
other
him what to do.
information from other people. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't getting from studying. He was like, well, okay. He got the cliff notes.
Yeah. That's all he did. He got cliff notes. Like, hey, you need to go here, go here, go here. Riddler was he was orchestrating all the others, go do this, and he planned all of it so at the very end, he would confront Batman and tell Batman that I'm the one who knows who you are, and I did all this to prove that you couldn't figure it out.
Yep.
And that's what I wanted. If they did something like that and loosely took it from the book, but had it where the Riddler is more sadistic than he is, and he's like wondering what the hell, and it's because of the Lazarus pit. Oh man, okay, that's cool. That'd have been cool, but no. And then in the middle of the fight, he's sitting there. You have Batman telling him, you feel that, Riddler? You feel the strength leaving you every second, every day. He's gonna go, shut up, shut up. I'm like, oh my god, man.
Yeah, it was
He
really
already
stupid. I
won.
didn't like that.
Yeah, Batman won. Batman beat him. I'm like, come on, man. So that was I wish that they didn't do that. I wish that they kept Riddler. You can have him as that kooky. They even say he's a delisted supervillain. Okay, that's fine. But then he goes from D to an A all because of the Lazarus pit. It fixed the tumor in his head, and now he can actually think a lot faster, and he's more
Yep.
sadistic because he knows a lot. His brain is not hindered as much as it used to be,
Can
and
you
he now
imagine
has all
that?
these
You
more
find out it
elaborate
was a
plans.
tumor.
Huh?
The tumor slowed him down.
Yeah.
He was doing schoolyard uh, play
Brain
around
teasers.
attitude,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like the tumor gets fixed, and then it turns into, well, I just graduated from college.
Yeah. And I'd have been fine with that. And I think you would have been fine with that. I think a lot of people would have been fine with that. But you didn't have to take out Thomas Elliot out of the whole story and make Riddler Hush. And you have people sitting there saying, "Oh, this is a great movie." I'm like, "What movie are you watching?" I personally rather watch Batman Brave and the Bold. I mean, that's exactly what I
Oh,
would
ugh,
have gotten. This
that's
is this
terrible.
this this is this is this is not a good story. This is not a good story. You completely took a lot of elements and you took out a lot of stuff out of there and you changed the full story of Hush. You took that whole story out of why went after Batman in the first place. And then Riddler's whole plan. The whole thing was a Riddler plan. The reasoning why a lot of people regard Hush as one of the best stories is because it's in the same vein as Nightfall.
Yep.
Batman was trying to figure out who the heck is the guy that's been doing all this. You find out this whole plan was by Bane, just to basically weaken Batman mentally and physically so he can beat him. And when he did, he broke his back and threw him down a garbage chute and said, "I
Yep.
broke you." And he leaves. He leaves.
He's like broken toy, moving on.
Yeah, I
He moves
broke
on to
you.
the city after that, and they
Yeah,
all.
but you could have did that with this version of Hush. And then you had not Catwoman, but Poison Ivy was useless. And for some reason she could fight Catwoman. I'm like, what? Where did she
Yeah, she
learn
can't
jujitsu?
fight.
Where did she
Yeah,
learn some
she can't
martial
fight.
arts?
Like, this is ridiculous.
She throws weeds at people. I mean, I don't mean like she physically throws weeds at them. She plant stems come out of the ground and she uses them to slap people around with it. She doesn't physically go after people. She is physically strong because she is a plant. She's a part plant person. So yes, she's physically strong. She has an endurance. She's fast. She is stronger than a normal person. But she could get trounced by Batman. I'm sorry. She will get completely annihilated by Batman in a physical fight.
Well,
Batman
that's
is
why
no
she
joke.
runs away. She's like, "Oh, please don't kill me,"
Yeah. But
because
against Catwoman?
he has that super weed killer that he has in his belt all the time.
Yeah, right.
She freaks out because it hurts her. It's like acid. So she's like, "Nope, gotta go."
Yeah. And then have her again. And I know somebody goes use my words against me and say then she should be fighting against Catwoman. But you having her fight martial arts. That's different. If she knew martial arts, Batman would be in trouble.
Yeah, because then all of a sudden out of nowhere, she got stronger than him because she has the skill level.
Yes, skill makes a lot of difference. And I know here Hawk can verify that even an overweight person, if he knows judo, you don't want to get into a wrestling match with him. He'll toss you around all over the place, especially if you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Hence, the sumo wrestler.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what you just meant.
yeah,
Or you're fighting Sammo Hung, who knows how to use his body weight and flip around and kick you in the face from the back of your head. And
yeah,
you're like, wait, what just
right.
happened? Like, Sammo Hung is a very flexible, overweight man, and
Yes,
he's tough.
he's tough, and I'm like, what? So I don't care what you're thinking about. If if Poison Ivy knew martial arts on top of her having enhanced physical skill, physical ability, Batman would have to run from her. She would not need bodyguards. She would have to summon bodyguards. She'd be like, I can handle it myself. Crack her knuckles, say, hey, let's go at it. Batman would be like, oh crap. Okay, I better dig here for that weed killer because she'll turn me inside out. It's the same
Yeah,
thing for Mr.
he'd be
Freeze.
worried, but he's never worried about her. He's like, oh,
No, Mr. Freeze is a different story. He doesn't want to go physically against that man. He'll grab him and throw him through a wall. He'll be come on, and he doesn't need to know Mr. Freeze doesn't need to know martial arts. He'll take a punch and be like, "You will die." Like, oh crap, Freeze! He throws him through
that's
a wall,
exactly
dude.
why Arnold Schwarzenegger was that character because that's Freeze's attitude. He is the Arnold of his supervillains. Like he is the one that you can punch all day. He is the freaking Terminator. He doesn't feel it.
Nope.
You can hit him as hard as you want. He does move, but it doesn't hurt him at all. Like
No.
even Bane doesn't like fighting him. He's like, nah, man. Bane doesn't want to fight him.
No. Because and people gotta realize also is when Mr. Freeze is out of his suit, yes, he could die quick because he has to be in sub-zero temperatures. But if he grabs something, it instantly freezes.
Freezes, yes, because he did that to prove a point. I think he touched it was a Killer Croc,
Yeah.
and it broke some of his scales off, and it freaked him out. But he
Yeah.
wanted to prove a point. He just took off a piece of his glove and he touched him, and it was just like, oh,
Yeah, he got me like, get that off me. He says it's cold. He's like, yep, that's why I wear the suit.
he's
Because
just
I
like
will die,
testing.
but if I touch anybody, they die too. He's forever stuck in that suit. So
Or if he walks around the Arctic before it melts.
yeah. So he can. I'm like, So I mean, no, if Poison Ivy knew martial arts, Catwoman is fodder. She's a joke. I mean, come on. And the only reason why,
She
and
would have been dead
also,
before Batman could even got there to save her.
yeah, she'd be dead. Poison Ivy would have no would be laughing at Catwoman. She's like, what the hell? Grab her foot and break it. She'll grab her foot and break her foot, and then blow some
Yeah,
dust
she
into her
would use
face,
her as a
and I'll
club.
destroy her lungs. It's like,
She would use her as a club,
God,
like Bam Bam and Flintstones. So it's Bam Bam dead. Like,
yeah, oh,
whoops.
man.
But like the thing with people don't understand is that Mr. Freeze is by far his most physically superpowered nightmare. Like
Mm-hmm. In a way,
even
yeah.
Superman is worried about him. Like he's like, nah, man, because his ice slows down Superman, and it's kind of scary if you think about it. Like, how is this dude? And people who don't understand, his gun is off of what he is. It's not some laser gun.
Nope.
It's not Captain Cold's gun.
No.
It's his body cold that he's shooting. It's not. That's why there's a hose hooked to it because it's taking his physical cold and projecting it with
Mm-hmm.
this slingshot essentially at you. This is why it freezes the way it does. This is where Captain Cole got the idea for his
Yep.
weapon
His
because
gun, yeah.
of Mr. Freeze. Because he was like, wow, his gun's kind of cool. He just happened to run into a military thing that he made the pyrotechnic one and the cold one.
Yeah,
So,
the crowd kinetic gun, and the crowd gun is
right,
supposed to
because
go
of watching Mr.
absolute
Freeze, he
cold.
was like,
It's supposed to go absolute
what?
cold, but Mr. Freeze is absolute cold. He is absolute
Or
cold. If
worse.
yeah, he's
Or
worse. But the thing about absolute cold is it's instant absolute cold. Mr. Freeze, it's over time. He freezes you over time. Cat
because he wants you to suffer.
yeah, he wants you to suffer. What Captain Cold does is it's insta cold. It's instant absolute zero. That's why it f's up
That's
Barry
how come
Allen
you
or
live.
any of the Flashes so
Well,
bad
no, but
because
that's also why you live though
oh
after
yeah,
it,
oh
because
yeah,
it's instant. You become a hibernated state and you're able to be defrosted. That's why. When Captain Cold does it, you have a chance to live.
hmm
With Mr. Freeze, you have absolute no chance of surviving. He purposely does it so you die.
yep,
He is a murderer.
oh yeah,
He doesn't care. Like he likes to watch people suffer.
hmm
That's why everybody stays away from him. I mean, even he personally doesn't like the Joker because he knows the Joker is fucking dangerous. Excuse my language. I
yep,
know. But he knows he's dangerous, but he's not afraid of him in that sense of like,
no,
well, okay, whatever. But he holds back. Bane is afraid of Freeze. Bane is not afraid of Joker. That tells you a lot. And Joker is the most dangerous mentally out of all of them, but they're not afraid of him.
yep,
He is the John Wayne of the villain, but the Clint Eastwood of their villains is Mr. Freeze. Like this guy, you got to worry about all the time, and he could fight. He knows how to fight. He'll go toe to toe. Like he knows how to throw a punch. He don't care. He's not afraid of taking a hit, and that's what
mm,
makes him dangerous. He's just
yep.
yeah, you could hurt my suit or whatever, but I think what does he have like yeah, a 2 hour window out of the suit before he starts suffocating?
No, it's like a few minutes. It's like a few minutes because
Well,
it
back in the
also
day,
well,
it was
it
like two
really
hours,
depends on
right?
it
But
depends on the temperature of the room. It really does.
yeah,
If the room's
especially how many
temperature is
times he
normal
throws over the
temperature,
room though.
he might has about a couple of hours before he just goes into
Well, he freezes the
before he
room
goes
a
into
lot
shock and
first
dies.
though.
Huh?
You notice that he freezes the room down a lot first before he shoots anybody. You notice he will hit a wall with ice. He'll make a ice bridge, whatever he does when he walk. He'll spray it down like it's red carpet. He freezes the room down first just in case so he can get away.
Mhm. Yeah, especially if Batman shows up and throws some
Yep.
chicken soup on his suit. Breaks the window.
Right? Antifreeze. What is it?
You know, right?
Oh, you mean like Granny's peach tea?
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, his villain. Batman's villains are
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 dangerous.
they're
They're by
dangerous.
far the most dangerous villains that he has. I mean, the only one that's not his villain, that's kind of everybody's, is Savage.
Yeah,
Savage is a everybody villain, like the
he's an
whole world.
everybody's villain, and in some ways, so is Ra's al Ghul, depending on the situation.
Yeah, but I
Um,
mean, compared to Savage, Savage is true immortal. So, I
yeah,
mean, Moral Man is useless. I'm sorry. This is why you don't see his comics. Like this dude is useless. Like he's nowhere near as smart as Savage.
no,
He's he is supposed to be his arch nemesis, which is really this is why Savage came after Superman as his true arch nemesis because he knows Superman over time would be the one that will stand there with him because he's the only one that can live that long. So he was like, well, you'd be the one I would have to try to destroy. Immortal Man, what is he? Like, in the future where it was in the comic where Superman got shot into the future and Savage was like, I made a mistake, man. I destroyed the world, bro. Where was Immortal Man? He,
I
he
know,
was a
right?
freaking speck in a cave somewhere. Like this dude went and hide, but he's not a hero. He's an imbecile that just has immortality. He was alive, but he wouldn't deal with Savage. Like where was he? Did he find a way to kill him? Like, you gotta wonder that. But he didn't. He had to been alive somewhere. He was just hiding or something was going on. But
I don't know. I don't know because a lot of the situations since then, I mean, I don't know how they were going to do that. In my personal opinion, if they're going to do Vandal Savage, they need to really expand on that. That's why I really hope in Young Justice, which will be our final one before we finish up here, um, um, that they introduce Immortal Man and a little bit more into Vandal Savage because this season of Young Justice they really did a lot on Vandal Savage. They explained who the hell he is since the last season, and um and my God, wow, they did so much in this season of Young Justice. I
I
don't know
never
if you.
finished it yet. But yeah,
Okay.
like I Vandal's probably one of my favorites. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have more favorites for villains, like real villains, than Marvel. Like you can't like some of our favorites are not necessarily villains per se.
No,
So if you look at Doctor Doom, he's not really a villain. He's just a man trying to protect his country. Stay out of my way. Stop invading my country.
pretty much.
And that's his attitude. Like he doesn't want to dominate the world. None of this, but they make it look like he's trying to dominate the world in the cartoons, and that's not how he is in the comics. He tries to stay in his country, and then you guys invade it, and he's like, really, dude, get out of my country. And you're wondering why he's mad. He's trying to better his people, and you get in the way. Another one is Hendrik. He's not a villain. Again, somebody decided to kill his son, who technically, yes, was a villain, but the Mandarin himself was not. And that's why, with them, it's kind of hard to say, like, well, my favorite villain in Marvel is the Mandarin. He's not a villain. He's just a man that's upset of one guy for murdering his son. And in his age, where he was from till now, you have to avenge your child or brother or father. You have to. That's the code of what he is. So until he kills Iron Man, he can't stop. He's not going after anybody else. He doesn't care about Cap or the Hulk or anything like that. He leaves them alone. He's like, this is not between us. So it's not a villain thing. It's just you murdered my son. You didn't have to, and you did it. So now I'm gonna have to get rid of you. You have no honor. It's a huge factor was the honor stuff that's going on between Mandarin and him. It's a sign of disrespect. Like you disrespected a warrior. You're just some guy in a soda can. Like what's wrong with you? Because he could rip the suit apart.
Yeah, he
Like
could have.
he's strong enough to rip it apart. So that's what annoys me. But like when to Savage, Savage is a true villain. The guy is like legitimate. I want to rule the world, maybe even the galaxy. Like that's his attitude. But then he did a misstep in one of the stories, and he accidentally destroyed the world. And then he was trying to find a way to fix it because he knew eventually Superman would show up, and he found a way to send him back to uh, fix it and steer Savage into a new direction. And Savage was actually a good guy at that moment because he already destroyed the world. He had nothing to do. He couldn't go out into space. It's just like, whoops, I messed up.
Yeah.
Can you help me fix it? And Superman, being who he is, because if it was Batman, it would be a story. But being the Boy Scout, uh, he was like,
Yes,
yeah, I guess.
he has to give him a second chance.
Yeah, he gave him a second chance. Bruce would not. Bruce would not have done it. Not at all. It
No.
would be like the one person he would try to kill over and over. Like, I could kill you and not feel bad for it. Like, you
Right?
destroyed the world, and but Superman dealing with it, it was like, dude, I'll give you a chance, man. Like, just help me get back, and I will fix what you messed up. How about that? And then you know what he did right after that? He told Bruce. He fixed it, all right. He made sure Savage never got a hold of certain technologies ever, because he used Wayne Tech technology to destroy the world. So it never happened again after that. So that's how it got fixed. But you will never see that in a cartoon or a movie. But that was all.
Well, they kind of did that type of story in the Bruce Timm thing. The hereafter. Yeah, hereafter storyline.
Yeah, but I mean, it
But
was
that was
just
very
like,
loose based. That was
yeah.
very, very loose based. But I don't think they should touch it. I don't think they should touch it at all. There's
Oh yeah,
certain ones I would say if they're gonna do any other new movies into stories, do the more stuff with Damian Wayne, because like I said, if you're gonna do one with Tim Drake in there and you're gonna take out his character and put in Damian Wayne and have him do nothing, then
yeah, dude,
what the f was the purpose,
do the Maury Povich. He might not be the baby daddy test, because Maury Povich is known for that.
right?
The Maury Show. Do that as a joke, like, hey, Deathstroke might be your daddy. Wait, what? This is not cool. Isn't he poor? Isn't he captive of Amanda Waller? Like, what's going on,
Well,
kid?
like I said, speaking of which, we got like I said, we got Young Justice, and I know you haven't watched it. I think that this season was very, very well done. They they did the whole Lazarus contract type of situation with Terra, and it ended very dark, very, very, very dark.
No, it did in
Um,
the comics. It was like
no, no, no,
really.
no, 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 no. It didn't end like it did in the comics. I'm telling you that right here and now. What you think? Nope. Take that out. Throw it out the window.
Okay, so it
But
didn't
it
go
still
that
ends
dark.
dark. It still ends pretty dark. And
Okay, because it was super dark in the comic. You were like, oh,
oh yeah,
that's brutal.
yeah. And the fact of why Terra was actually listening to Slade and what Slade was really doing with Terra, you're like, really, bro? But
You're
anywho,
like, wow, you're pretty gross, my dude.
yeah, you're pretty gross. Yeah. So but
Isn't she underage?
yeah, she's supposed to be like 16, 17.
Yeah, like Slade's a
Slade was in his 40s and
vicious,
50s, bro.
violating dude. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
was
wait, don't you have
legitimately
a kid,
tapping that.
bro?
He was legitimately having sex with her.
Yeah,
That's what they were really hinting to.
yep.
Um,
In the
in
comic, I
the
don't know about the cartoon.
in the comic, not not in the show, in the comic.
You did a
We don't want people
pan.
going,
Like, oh
what?
no, 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 no,
But
no. It was in the comic.
yeah, only in the comic. Um, but what they did, okay, this is how I see they're gonna do it. They're gonna defeat Darkseid. They're gonna defeat Darkseid, and something else is gonna happen, and it's going either they're gonna defeat Darkseid or they're gonna defeat Vandal Savage. One of them has to go right now. And the
Oh yeah,
way,
it's because they're working together. Yeah.
yeah. So, but the one thing is, in one episode, what the hell was it? Yeah, the revelation of what Halo really is. And when they revealed what she is, and it got Vandal to go, what? Like he got shocked. He got shocked to his core what she could truly do. And he went, okay. So he immediately started helping the heroes. He says, nope, help them. Because what Granny found out, she can go to Darkseid and tell Darkseid, and Darkseid goes, you got what? Okay, give it to me now.
Yeah.
So I think I don't want to try to spoil it for you or anybody else, but Yeah, and that's what shocked Vandal to helping. And I have a feeling that something
Oh,
else is
and
gonna
for
happen.
people who don't know, this is the version of Vandal after the I destroyed the world, and he doesn't know he did it. So he became different. So he's capable of going back and forth between being a freaking crazy villain to like, no, this is not the good for my plans. So I'm gonna
Exactly.
help the heroes. Like he's still a villain.
He's still a
So
villain, but
he's
he
just
but he
he
doesn't want to.
knows like it's not gonna work out for his plan, so he's gonna have to make sure to divert the other person.
Yeah.
So it's like people think, oh, he's turning good for this moment. No, he's not good.
No.
He's completely evil, and I'm sure Tim will like, I do not like this dude, but he's gonna work with him because Dick, his brother, is gonna be like, nah, bro, we need his help.
Yeah. Now, what I'm thinking is that next season, um, I thought this season they're gonna bring back Wally. They're not. They're
No,
hinting
I
at it.
don't think that's gonna happen. I think the only person that it, like you said, Vandal's helping them, right? So the only person that's smart enough to start figuring that out is Vandal. He's like, wait, you got a what type of hero?
Yeah.
Where's he? He's dead. What? No, he can't be dead. And you know that's I I hope that's what they would go for because
No.
he is
What?
smart
No.
enough to do that and
Okay.
figure out
What?
how to pull him out of the
No,
Speed
I don't think
Force.
they're gonna do that. I don't think they're gonna do that.
It'd be good though,
It would be
like
cool if
in a
they did
pretty
that, but
good
I don't
way.
think they're gonna do that. If they were smart, what I would do is do this almost in the same thing they did with Impulse in that series. That out of
Oh,
nowhere, Speedster shows up and says blah 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 blah, and they're like, "What the hell? You come from a dark future." Okay, this is what I think they should do. When when Vandal, I think that Vandal needs to help the heroes take down Darkseid, and when they take down Darkseid, they get rid of him. Like they think they killed him, but they don't kill him. They get rid of him, but they all think that they killed him. And even Vandal says, "Nope, he's dead. We got rid of him. Now my plan can come to fruition." That's when Wally should come out of the Speed Force, and it's a completely different Wally. And you're like,
yeah,
"What the
because
hell
he
happened
was
to
in a
Wally?"
different timeline. Yeah,
Yeah, and when you find out is when Wally
Vandal.
ran and he disappeared at the end of the final season of season one, in the final episode of season one, he went into the Speed Force, but the Speed Force sent him to another reality where he could live his life. So he still had his powers. He had all this. He has his new levels of experience and information, but he forgot his original life. So he had a brand new life and everything. He runs into the Speed Force because when they defeated Darkseid, something happened, and now all the realities are at risk. So you're kind of doing a Crisis on Infinite Earths type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when he comes forward, they're like, "Wally's back, Wally," and you have that emotional thing between Artemis and Wally. He's in there looking at her like, I don't. Hey, you're kind of hot, babe, but I'm married. Sorry, and I have two kids. She's like, "What?" You're like, "What?" Yeah, he shows he's married to Linda Park and he has two kids. And
Yeah,
he and that everybody's go, "Whoa!" So you're kind of giving him that storyline where he's from the original storyline.
he's older.
He's older
Yeah.
too. He is older. And he's wearing his current costume, the all red with his hair hanging out, and he has he has his more current costume, and he calls himself the Flash.
Oh, not the silver and red.
No, no, not the silver. No, silver and red is the silver and red is Black Wally. That's his suit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Um.
that.
So he has his suit that's closer to his older suit they had in the 90s, but it doesn't have he doesn't
Instead
have
of
the full
yellow,
cap.
it's reverse. Yeah.
Huh?
Instead of the yellow color, he has it as.
It's a little bit more red. It's a little bit more
Yeah.
red. It's like almost all red. And he has his hair hanging out because he doesn't have the full cap over his head. He has his hair hanging out. So it's an adaptation to his kid Flash suit. So he comes in and he talks to all of them and he says to them, "We have a problem, and I don't have enough time for it." And he explains to them that something like this and this and this is happening. So when Vandal hears this, Vandal is telling him like, "What the heck? What do you mean?" And he says, "No, no, 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 no." So now he's trying to force his plans, and they have to either deal with Vandal or have to deal with the destruction of the multiverse. They can't deal with both. That's the whole thing. That's the whole crux of everything. You got all this stuff that's going on their world, but they can't deal with that right now because it's going to slow them down to dealing with the bigger problem, and that's the fact that when Darkseid got defeated, he sent in a way like annihilation wave throughout the whole multiverse because Darkseid was in the middle of doing something that was in tune to working with a plan with the anti-life equation, and he was almost on par with that, but it sent like almost an annihilation wave throughout the whole multiverse. So they have to try to stop that or deal with Vandal Savage and the rest of the light. So you gotta almost like a race against time. And you have Wally there trying to, work with the rest of the team until they find out that this is their Wally. This is their Wally. He's just from a different timeline. He's from a different world, and they find out the whole truth about what the Speed Force did, and they find out through Bart and Barry what like this version of Wally is our Wally because and that's when they revealed the whole story of, if you guys don't know the whole thing about the multiverse with the Flash, is every world in the multiverse vibrates at a certain frequency. And the only way to get there is you have to vibrate yourself at a certain speed level to get to that version of the world. That's how speedsters can go to any dimension. They can go anywhere within the multiverse as long as they can vibrate to that frequency. And
Wally's the main one that knows how to do that.
Exactly. It was the only person that was able to do that. Barry did it on a fluke. Wally was able to do that through his training with Max Mercury. That was it. So
and then Impulse
was kind of able to do it, but I think it gave him a bloody nose or something like that. So it was like,
he needed help.
He neneeded help to do
somebody else.
And on top of that, he kind of didn't want to do that because he knew that it would cause more fundamental problems than
anything
anything else.
With Flashpoint.
Yeah, it'll screw too many things up. He's like, no, I'm not doing all that.
I'm not trying to do my granddad. We're good.
Right.
I'll stick with the timeline we got now.
So yeah, I would like for them to do that. I would like for them to bring back Wally, but this version of Wally had a whole new life. He had a wife, has kids, and everything. And you create this huge emotional turmoil for Artemis's character, and she's thinking like this is her second chance with Wally, but Wally's married. Wally has a family and everything. He likes her. I mean, she is sexy, but he has a wife. He has a wife.
She's also young too, though.
Yeah, and he is a little bit older than her.
Yeah.
He is a little bit older than her. And in their continuity, he wasn't older than her. They were about the same age.
Yeah.
But this version of Wally is a little bit older because it was something that the Speed Force did. Because they felt that no, he died a heroic death, and they don't want his death. They don't want him. They did not want him to be cascading throughout the multiverse as a specter. So they said, okay, here, let's take his spirit and throw him into this universe, erase his memory, and give him a brand new life.
Which people don't know, the Speed Force, it does that.
It can do stuff like that.
If you're a good person, it'll give you something good. And then over time, they tried to chase him down with death.
Yeah.
And then he outran it. And that scared them. And they were like, well, you're our herald, so we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to try to chase you down since you outran
death. You outran death.
Force.
Death for speedsters. You outran it. That's so so stupid. That's so messed up. That's so how fast the Flash is. And that means Barry and Wally. They outran death.
Yeah, they both did it. So, because he was already doing it, Wally was playing games when Barry ran. Wally, he was like, Barry. He's like, what are you doing? Outrunning death. What are you doing? Same thing. Oh, well, good times. And
good times.
They outran him, and it's just, the Speed Force at that point stopped trying to kill them. They're like, nah, okay, we grant you the truth of the Speed Force. Leave us alone.
Well, the thing is that I think I remember is when they finally were able to get rid of Darkseid in the Final Crisis, Wally took Jai and Iray with Linda, and they ran to the Speed Force because he didn't want to go in the Speed Force by himself anymore because he had to bring balance. So his wife and children said, no, we want to go with you. And he says, but we're going to be gone. She goes, we don't care. We're a family.
Yeah, but
we
the
stick together.
Speed Force accepted it because technically they can't even enter it. And the Speed
Force...
they
did it. They did it.
No, the Speed Force allowed it.
Yeah, the Speed Force allowed it.
They didn't want him to be lonely. So they were like, no, go ahead, bro. And they gave
it's like a heaven, like a world where they're alive, but he's doing the job of the Speed Force. Like anybody who hasn't read the comics, it's complicated, but it's actually
Yeah.
pretty cool that they granted him peace.
Yeah. And that's where we get into Convergence, because Convergence answers what happened to Wally and his family when they ran into the Speed Force. That's when they ran into Convergence.
Yeah, because he has to kill those monsters. That's his job as the Herald. He has to kill the speed monsters.
Yeah, the Paradox demons.
Yes, the demons. He has to kill them because of who? Freaking Darkseid throwing out his evilness is corrupting things,
Yep.
and
Oh man,
they
that was
have to
so.
clean up the Speed Force because it never had that before. The only thing they had that was personified as evil was their death, which is not evil. It's just that's their way of punishing those who need to be taken out.
Mm.
And with him, it's like we need death can't do it, so we need you to destroy the demons. So he
So
was like, all right,
yeah. So I mean, I kind of wish that they do something like that. Bring back Wally. I mean, I hope they figure something else out if it's not gonna work that way. But I hope they do
have
some.
Mercury take over as a herald. That would be.
Dude, they need to bring Max Mercury, but they need to bring Max Mercury back in the comics, man. That dude is dope. He's not as fast as all the rest of them, but he could
But
do
he
things
has
that they
tricks.
cannot do in the Speed
Yeah,
Force.
he's like the trickster of the Flashes. Like the guy
Yep.
has like ideas.
He has a
He's like the
lot of
Hal
skill,
Jordan
and
of
he's
Flash.
old. He's older than all of them.
Yep.
Sheesh. But
He wears a tin cup over his head.
yeah, right. Wears a freaking stupid little cap over his head,
Yeah, it's
and
funny.
he has a freaking and he has a
A
1980s
hubcap.
pirate shirt on with his chest
Yep.
exposed. I'm like, really, bro?
Yeah, he's weird.
But dude, that guy could do so much crap with the Speed Force. And also, if it wasn't for Max Mercury, shoot, man, Bart would be not good. He would not be as badass like he was, man, because Max really
Yeah,
trained the
because he
crap
taught
out
him
of
how to
him.
fight too. Yeah, he taught him how to fight physically too without the
Yeah,
Speed Force.
yeah. He doesn't. I think it was one time he never considered Barry his. He looked at Barry like, who the heck are you? He knew that was his grandfather, but he was like, you're kind of crappy. He looked at Wally and Max Mercury as more of like his true
His
family,
family.
because
Yeah. Well,
because
okay,
Barry
it's
was
his
dead the whole time.
great. What is Wally? His great
No, his
uncle,
uncle,
cousin, uncle. Yeah.
his great
So
uncle.
it's his blood.
Hmm.
And is it great uncle? Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
great granduncle.
it's his. It's his uncle. If Barry's his grandfather, yeah, you're right, grand uncle. Yeah. So it's just confusing how you do the family thing like that, but it's only because they were Barry married into
Hmm.
Wally's family, which whatever.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing goes for Jay Garrick. Jay Garrick to Bart is like a great great grandfather,
Yep.
and he looks to him more also too in some iterations. But most time in the comics, he looks to Max Mercury as his dad, like a true dad, and he looks at
Well, he adopted him because
yeah, and
his parents had no power.
oh, and also Max Mercury stopped the aging thing. That's what he did. He
Yep.
stopped that aging crap that was messing with him. He took him into Speed Force and fixed it so he wouldn't age, because every time he kept running, he kept aging himself, so he had to stop running. So then Max took him into the Speed Force and fixed it. He was able to run as much as he wished and everything else. But
Yeah, it was weird. It was like the Speed Force power was diluting out of Barry's bloodline and poor Bart.
yeah,
He had
weird.
that disease of aging.
Yeah,
It's like
but he wasn't. It was like his cells were aging, but he wasn't
he
aging at
wasn't
all.
meant. Yeah, he wasn't meant to have the power because the Speed Force didn't accept it because the world was corrupt.
Yeah,
And then
Barry was
Mercury was
dead
like,
and
"Nah,
Wally
man,
was
we
dead,
gotta
so it's
fix
like
this,
we need a
bro."
speedster.
Well, the reason why he was dying was because Mercury was there,
Yeah,
and Mercury was like, "Nope, gotta fix this because I'm too old."
right.
So naturally old. So he was like, "Nope, nope, gotta fix this." Speed Force picked the wrong person.
He's a Speed Force picked the wrong person.
Well, yeah, they chose him to be the herald still, and he was like, you do." I'm like 80. Like
Yeah,
I am
right.
old.
Yeah, you're like
And,
14. I'm like eight. I'm like over 300 years old because I've been running around inside the Speed Force for so damn long.
yep.
So yeah. All right. Do you have any final talk about it? You have anything you want to finally say so we can wrap this all up?
No, I mean, I think we went a little long on this one too.
Yeah, yeah, we went off a little bit
Well,
on
we
this one.
have other subjects we can go on later. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, yeah, we
These
haven't talked
are
about
as long
Joker
as a
yet.
movie.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the
Yeah.
Joker yet. Um, Also about some more news about holding with Jason Momoa and what our expectations for Aquaman 2. And I haven't heard much about the Snyder cut, so I'm leaving that for possibilities.
Yeah.
Um, and the Batman news and some of the stuff I've heard. So we'll leave that for another podcast. But yeah, we talked a good amount about this. I want to thank everybody for sticking with us for wow, almost 2.5 hours.
Yep.
So
So I hope you guys build up our podcast here and hopefully like us and so that we can continue doing this more frequently.
hmm yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like to thank everybody. Thank Hawk for joining me, and I hope you
Yep.
guys like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Hit that bell. I'll put up some videos as much as I possibly can, and we'll try to do more of these podcasts. When our schedules allow it.
Yeah.
All right,
But
everybody. You have a good
yeah,
one.
thanks. Later.